Chapter 249. The fourth stage was still the same small square. Zhao Wuji crossed his legs and lay on a shabby little recliner, basking in the sun. "Teacher Zhao, I brought them here," Lu Yuan said. Hearing that, Zhao Wuji opened his eyes and saw Lu Yuan's figure. He smiled and said, "Little Yuan, you're the one who's bringing them here this year." Zhao Wuji was not tall, but he was quite stout. Standing there, he really had a dignified aura. "It seems that there are quite a lot of little monsters this year," Zhao Wuji said softly. Looking at Zhu Zhuqing and the other three, a trace of surprise flashed in his eyes. After so many years of enrollment, it was the first time that 4 people had reached the 4th stage at the same time. "Yes, Teacher Zhao, they were all exempted from the 2nd and 3rd stages," Lu Yuan said softly. "Oh," Zhao Wuji exclaimed with a trace of surprise on his face. It seemed that these little monsters were quite talented. "Teacher Zhao, how do you operate the 4th stage this year? Are you going to do it yourself?" Lu Yuan asked. Zhao Wuji waved his hand and said, "Forget it. I'm too lazy to move. It's rare for me to bask in the sun. You'd better do it. Anyway, you're definitely strong enough." "I'll do it. That's fine too." Lu Yuan nodded and turned to face the 4 of them. He said, "Since Teacher Zhao has said so, as long as the 4 of you can hold out against me for the time it takes to burn a stick of incense, you will pass this final stage." "Wow, Lu Yuan, you're looking down on us too much. The 4 of us can hold on for 30 minutes. I think you'll be lucky if you can hold on for 30 minutes in our hands." After hearing Lu Yuan's words, Xiao Wu immediately retorted. Lu Yuan ignored her and just looked at her indifferently. He said, "The rules are like this. You better discuss the tactics first. Otherwise, don't blame me for not reminding you when you're defeated." After hearing Lu Yuan's words, Xiao Wu was a little unconvinced and wanted to refute immediately. At this moment, Zhao Wuji's voice sounded. "Kid Yuan is right. If you can really hold out against him for the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, then you're good. You'd better discuss your strategy, or you'll lose without a doubt." He and Lu Yuan had sparred dozens of times over the past year. Even if Lu Yuan wasn't as strong as him, he wasn't too far off. Normal class 71 soul sages wouldn't be able to defeat him. It would be a piece of cake to deal with these 4 little monsters. He hoped that Yuan would hold back and not be eliminated. These 4 little monsters were quite talented. Hearing Zhao Wuji's words, Tang San's expression turned somewhat grave. Not to mention that Lu Yuan himself was not someone who would boast. Zhao Wuji as his teacher would definitely not lie. From the looks of it, Lu Yuan's strength was definitely beyond imagination. He had sparred with Lu Yuan twice and lost miserably both times. When he was 9 years old, Lu Yuan seemed to have already reached rank 28. Now, he was probably rank 37 or 38. Thinking about this, Tang San's heart froze. He had always been cautious. If Lu Yuan was so strong when he was 9 years old, then what about the current Lu Yuan? Tang San's mind spun. Since Lu Yuan has said so, let's introduce ourselves. I'm Tang San. My martial soul is Blue Silvergrass. I'm a class 29 control-type soul master. Xiao Wu. My martial soul is the Softbone Rabbit. I'm a class 29 assault-type soul master. Xiao Wu's voice sounded. Zhu Zhuqing. My martial soul is the 9 Lives Lynx. I'm a class 37 agility-type soul elder. Zhu Zhuqing continued with a calm voice. Rank 37. Xiao Wu exclaimed. She looked at Zhu Zhuqing in shock. Zhu Zhuqing was the same age as her, but her soul power had already broken through rank 37. How is this possible? Rank 37. Tang San's mind was in turmoil. He had thought that Zhu Zhuqing would be a class 31 soul cultivator, but she was a class 37 soul cultivator. What kind of terrifying talent did she have to be to train like that? She was probably comparable to Lu Yuan. What kind of martial soul was the 9 Lives Lynx? He had never heard of it before. In fact, Tang San wasn't the only one who didn't know about the 9 Lives Lynx. He had learned about it from the most ancient books in the Martial Soul Palace. Back then, Tang San didn't have the qualifications to touch these things. He could only look up some unimportant information. Ancient books like these were very precious. In order to see these things, Lu Yuan had specially gone to the Angel Palace to look for Sindoryu. With his relationship with the golden crocodile, he was able to see them. These were the treasures that belonged to the Martial Soul Palace. They were the only ones in the outside world. After Zhu Zhuqing finished speaking, she didn't say anything else. She didn't have anything to say to strangers like Tang San. Everyone looked at Ning Rongrong. At this moment, Ning Rongrong still looked a little absent-minded. She was still intoxicated in Lu Yuan's warm embrace. Just now, when she saw that Lu Yuan and Zhu Zhuqing were too intimate, she couldn't take it anymore and kicked a rock. In the end, she missed and fell backward. Lu Yuan was quick and caught her. The feeling of being hugged by Lu Yuan and the strange aura coming from Lu Yuan's body made Ning Rongrong feel a little intoxicated. "I won't give up." Ning Rongrong clenched her small fist and said. However, just as she finished speaking, she realized that Tang San and the other two were looking at her. "Why are you looking at me like that?" Ning Rongrong felt a little uncomfortable being stared at by the three of them. Seeing that Ning Rongrong didn't seem to know anything, Tang San could only repeat what Lu Yuan had said just now. "What? Last the time it takes for an incense stick to burn?" Ning Rongrong looked a little surprised. "Why do you have such an expression? That shouldn't be hard, right?" Xiao Wu asked doubtfully. After hearing Zhao Wuji's words, she didn't dare to say that Lu Yuan could last the time it takes for an incense stick to burn. However, she was still unconvinced. There were 4 of them. Even if they couldn't beat Lu Yuan, it shouldn't be hard for them to last the time it takes for an incense stick to burn. Not hard. Ning Rongrong shook her head. 2 years ago, he was able to easily defeat 3 soul ancestors and 4 soul exalts working together. Now, I don't even know how strong he's become. Do you think it'll be difficult? How is that possible? When she said that, not only Xiao Wu, but even Tang San was a little dumbfounded. This kind of battle record was too terrifying. Furthermore, it was 2 years ago. How terrifying was Lu Yuan now? This guy was clearly the same age as him. Tang San felt powerless in his heart. Ever since he was defeated twice by Lu Yuan was the goal he had been striving to catch up to. But now he realized that this goal was getting farther and farther away from him. Was he going to be left far behind by Lu Yuan in this lifetime? No. Tang San's heart was suddenly filled with an intense unwillingness. He definitely wouldn't give up like this. He had to win today's test. Chapter 250. Then what's your martial soul? Tang San calmed himself down and asked Ning Rongrong. My martial soul is the 7 treasures glazed pagoda. My soul power is at rank 27. Ning Rongrong said, 7 treasures glazed pagoda? You're from the 7 treasures glazed sect? Tang San looked at Ning Rongrong with astonishment in his eyes, and his confidence slowly rose. The 7 treasures glazed pagoda was the number 1 auxiliary type martial soul in the world. This was what the master had told him. It greatly boosted a soul master's fighting strength. With Ning Rongrong and his own hidden weapons, he was confident that he could hold on for the time it took to burn an incense stick. Yes, but I actually snuck out. I'm no different from everyone else. Ning Rongrong said playfully. Then let's discuss. Both of you know Lu Yuan, so you should know something about his soul skills. Tang San looked at the 2 of them, and his gaze was especially focused on Zhu Zhuqing. Zhu Zhuqing and Lu Yuan were so close, so she definitely knew a lot. I don't know much about this. 2 years ago, Lu Yuan was only at rank 29, and his fighting strength was already very strong. I'm not too sure about his soul skills. I think 1 increases strength, 1 increases defense, and he also has a very powerful soul bone. As for the rest, I'm not too sure. Ning Rongrong said. Then, she added, he's very strong, and he's very fast. He's even faster than an agility-type soul master of the same rank. She recalled Lu Yuan's ethereal figure. His speed was really faster than an agility-type soul master. As for the rest, I think she should know more. Ning Rongrong looked at Zhu Zhuqing. Tang San and Xiao Wu also cast their gazes over. Zhu Zhuqing hesitated for a moment. She didn't know if she should say it. These things were Lu Yuan's secrets. It's okay. Just say it. Just as Zhu Zhuqing was hesitating, Lu Yuan's voice entered her ears. To Lu Yuan, it didn't matter even if others knew about his soul skills. No one knew about his true trump cards, such as the Poseidon's halberd technique, the Polychoria's pupil technique, the secret character, the dark golden terror claw, and so on. The so-called soul skills were only things that he revealed on the surface. Zhu Zhuqing nodded and said, I haven't seen him for more than 2 years. What's his level now? I'm not sure what soul skills they are, but I do know the effects of his first 2 soul skills. His first soul skill is called Golden Dragon Fist. It increases his strength by 100% and his speed and defense by 50%. As his rank increases, his strength will increase by 10% and his speed and strength will increase by 5% for every 10 ranks. My second soul skill is called Golden Dragon Warbody. It increases my defense by 200% and makes me immune to all control-type skills. External Soul Bone Golden Dragon Armor. Immune to all negative statuses, including burns, frostbite, slowness, poison, and so on. His movement technique is called the Phoenix Dance 6 Illusions. His speed is extremely fast, and he can create 6 clones. It's very mysterious. As for the rest, I'm not too sure. Zhu Zhuqing said softly. These were things that Lu Yuan had told her when he was bored. At that time, she would lie in Lu Yuan's arms every night. Lu Yuan would sometimes talk to her about interesting things, including his soul skills, soul bones, and so on. He didn't hide anything from her. Therefore, she had always remembered these things. As for Lu Yuan's dual pupils, she didn't mention them. This involved Lu Yuan's true secret. After all, in her eyes, this was Lu Yuan's second martial soul. It was extremely important. So how could she tell a few people she had just met? Moreover, with Lu Yuan's strength, this test was definitely just for fun. After all, with her here, there was no way he wouldn't let them pass. Immune to all negative statuses and control-type skills? Tang San's eyes were somewhat sluggish. Wasn't this a natural counter to him? His blue-silver grass only had 2 paths of development. One was toughness, and the other was poison. He walked the path of control-type skills, so this was a complete counter. Moreover, a large part of his hidden weapons relied on poison, which basically crippled his strength by more than half. To be honest, Tang San's mood was a little shaken. This was just like how the Blazing Academy found out that Tang San's blue silver grass was immune to fire. They didn't curse because their tempers were good. An assault-type soul master immune to control-type skills was the nightmare of all control-type soul masters. If he, a control-type, encountered Lu Yuan, what was the point of fighting? To be honest, Tang San suddenly had an impulse to cultivate the clear sky hammer, although it was only a little. Could it be that the Golden Dragon martial soul is so strong? Tang San couldn't help but think. Of course, Lu Yuan didn't know what Tang San was thinking. Otherwise, he would definitely say that the Golden Dragon was naturally powerful, but without the Golden Armor Dragon Tortoise, he wouldn't have been able to obtain such a top-grade soul skill. One had to know that the Golden Armor Dragon Tortoise was probably the last one in the entire continent. How could a soul beast with the Golden Dragon's bloodline be ordinary? This soul skill was produced by the combination of the two. After hearing Zhu Zhuqing's words, not to mention Tang San, even Ning Rongrong and Xiao Wu were shocked. This was simply a control-type soul master killer. A control-type soul master would die if they encountered him. And this Tang San in front of them was obviously a control-type soul master. Thinking of this, Ning Rongrong looked at Tang San with a trace of sympathy. What an unlucky guy. It was obvious that after hearing Zhu Zhuqing's words, the 3 of them, including Tang San, lost some of their confidence. Don't worry, I won't use any soul skills, and I won't even use my martial soul. If you can force my martial soul out, you'll pass. I'll add one more thing. My current level is rank 46. When the 3 of them were silent, Lu Yuan's indifferent voice sounded. Rank 46. As soon as these words came out, everyone was shocked, including Zhao Wuji. Brat Yuan, you're rank 46? Zhao Wuji looked at Lu Yuan in surprise. Actually, I reached rank 40 a long time ago, but I've been suppressing it. I just obtained a soul ring a few days ago, and I broke through to rank 46, Lu Yuan said calmly. Great! Zhao Wuji slapped his thigh and said, I was wondering why you didn't appear on campus for the whole day 3 days ago. So you went to obtain a soul ring. Not bad, but you're quite fast. You can make a round trip in a day. Although Shrek Academy wasn't very far from the Great Stardow Forest, it wasn't close either. Even with his speed, he couldn't make a round trip in a day. Lu Yuan could actually do it, so he must have an expert behind him. However, it made sense when he thought about it. How could a freak like Lu Yuan not have any support behind him? 10,000-year-old beasts weren't easy to hunt. Yeah, I naturally have my own channels. Lu Yuan smiled faintly and didn't intend to explain. Zhao Wuji didn't ask further. After all, this involved Lu Yuan's privacy, and it wasn't convenient for him to ask too much. Chapter 251. Rank 46. Tang Xin was shocked once again. He felt that all the surprises in his life had been used up today. He's indeed abnormal. Ning Rongrong looked at Lu Yuan with her beautiful eyes. This person had really left his peers far behind. You're indeed my man. Zhu Zhuqing looked at Lu Yuan, her eyes full of pride and deep affection. It was so good to have met this man in this life. Since you're done discussing, let's begin. Lu Yuan said plainly as he looked at them. With a flip of his hand, an incense stick appeared in Lu Yuan's hand. With a light twist, the incense stick started to burn. With a light flick, it was inserted into the ground not far away and started to burn. All right, then I'll assign the roles now. Xiao Wu and I will be in charge of the front. We'll pin down Lu Yuan. Zhu Zhuqing will attack from the side. Ning Rongrong, you'll assist us? Tang Xin said. Zhu Zhuqing nodded plainly. The four of them slowly walked in front of Lu Yuan and stood separately. Lu Yuan looked at them plainly as his white robe fluttered. Begin! Tang Xin shouted loudly. 7 treasures, glazed glass. Ning Rongrong shouted, and the 7 treasures glazed pagoda appeared in her hand. It emitted a beautiful light, and 2 yellow soul rings slowly rippled above it. Martial soul possession. The other 3 people also possessed their martial souls, and their bright soul rings were released one after another. Xiao Wu go, Tang Xin ordered. He and Xiao Wu pounced towards Lu Yuan at the same time. Zhu Zhuqing's figure flashed, and her clear blue eyes flashed. She quickly attacked Lu Yuan. 7 treasures, 1 day strength. 7 treasures, 2 days speed. The 7 treasures glazed pagoda emitted a bright light that shone on the 3 of them. Ha! Lu Yuan laughed lightly. He didn't react to their attacks, and just stood there calmly. Suddenly, several strands of blue-silver grass shot out from the ground and coiled around Lu Yuan. At the same time, Xiao Wu's figure pounced towards Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan lightly stomped his foot, causing a wave of air to surge up. The ground immediately cracked, and the blue-silver grass that was coiling around him was directly torn into pieces by the wave of air. Lu Yuan's figure flashed, and before Xiao Wu's waist bow could be activated, Lu Yuan grabbed her leg and threw her towards Tang Xin. Pa! He reached back with his right hand and grabbed Zhu Zhuqing's wrist. Under Zhu Zhuqing's surprised expression, he smiled and threw Zhu Zhuqing out. Don't play these little tricks. Don't waste my time. In his eyes, the attacks of Tang Xin and the others were like child's play, and there was really nothing worth pointing out. Blue-silver grass bind. Tang Xin used the ghost shadow perplexing track, and his figure floated up. Strands of blue-silver grass grew around Lu Yuan and coiled around Lu Yuan. Netherworld stab. Zhu Zhuqing's figure suddenly appeared in front of Lu Yuan. Her sharp claws flashed with a cold light as she clawed towards Lu Yuan. Although it was still the same Netherworld stab, the power of this soul skill had increased by a lot after the evolution of his martial soul. Lightly dodging Zhu Zhuqing's attack, Lu Yuan felt a rare interest in his heart. He wanted to see where Zhu Zhuqing's limit was. He was really curious about Zhu Zhuqing's true fighting strength. Lu Yuan lightly stomped his feet. His speed wasn't fast, but he was able to dodge all of Zhu Zhuqing's attacks every time. He had already practiced the Phoenix Dance's 6 illusions to the point of perfection. Right now, every step he took was filled with subtlety and just happened to match Zhu Zhuqing's attack methods. Suddenly, Lu Yuan's figure stopped, and a strand of blue-silver grass rose up and coiled around him. "Umph." Lu Yuan snorted. With a light shake, the blue-silver grass that coiled around him immediately broke apart. With the current toughness of Tang San's blue-silver grass, it was undoubtedly a fool's dream to try and bind Lu Yuan, who had a strength of 65,000 kilograms in his normal state. Lu Yuan only needed to use a bit of strength, and the blue-silver grass wouldn't be able to withstand the enormous force and would break apart. The shattering of one's martial soul actually had an effect on one's physical body. As the blue-silver grass broke apart one after another, Tang San, who was connected to it, couldn't help but snort lightly. He had suffered some minor injuries. "Lu Yuan, look here." Suddenly, a voice sounded in his ear. Lu Yuan subconsciously turned his head. Suddenly, Xiao Wu's second soul ring lit up. Her eyes were suffused with a red light, and a faint trace of temptation flickered. It was Xiao Wu's second soul skill, charm. Lu Yuan's polychoria and Xiao Wu's charm directly faced each other. Lu Yuan didn't have any reaction, but Xiao Wu seemed to have suffered a heavy blow. Blood flowed from her ears and nose at the same time. This was because her spiritual power had suffered a backlash. It had to be known that even Hulina's charm had no effect on Lu Yuan, but Xiao Wu actually dared to use her charm on him. His spiritual power was even higher than Zhao Wuji's, and was already close to that of a soul Douluo. In the original work, using it on Zhao Wuji would cause a backlash, let alone him. Xiao Wu. Seeing Xiao Wu's appearance, Tang San immediately cried out in alarm, and a blood-red color rose up in his eyes. "She's fine. It's just that the difference in spiritual power is too great, so there's a backlash. She'll be fine after resting for a night." Lu Yuan said indifferently. Tang San was silent. He placed Xiao Wu to the side and turned to face Lu Yuan. A murderous aura surged from his body, and with a swing of his right hand, streaks of cold light flew towards Lu Yuan. Seeing this, Lu Yuan frowned and gently pushed Zhu Zhuqing to the side. These hidden weapons didn't distinguish between friend and foe, and some of them were even poisonous. They weren't a threat to him, but they were a little dangerous to Zhu Zhuqing. At the same time, anger surged in his heart. "I can understand your anger when Xiao Wu is injured, but you actually dare to use hidden weapons when Zhu Zhuqing is still by my side? She's still your teammate. Aren't you worried about accidentally injuring her?" Perhaps in Tang San's opinion, Zhu Zhuqing was someone Lu Yuan loved, and Lu Yuan definitely wouldn't let her get hurt. Or maybe it was because they met by chance and didn't have any friendship, so Tang San simply didn't consider Zhu Zhuqing as his teammate. But no matter what the reason was, Lu Yuan was very angry, because this indirectly harmed Zhu Zhuqing. He clenched his fists so tightly that they cracked. "If I don't beat you half to death today, I, Lu Yuan, will write my name backwards." Seeing the hidden weapons coming towards him, a disdainful smile appeared on Lu Yuan's face. They might be useful against Zhao Wuji because he was slow and clumsy, but to him, they weren't a threat at all. Golden light flashed in his hand, and the golden dragon spear appeared. With a swing of the spear, the golden dragon spear swept away all of the hidden weapons like a tidal wave. Unorthodox methods. Lu Yuan stomped his foot heavily, and his body shot forward like an arrow. Slap! The golden dragon spear struck down all of Tang San's arrows, and Tang San's body instantly split into 6, which surrounded Tang San's body tightly. The spear directly swung onto Tang San's body and directly lifted him up. Then, Ling Tian heavily struck Tang San's chest, and Tang San instantly spat out a large mouthful of blood. When Lu Yuan truly unleashed his true strength, Tang San couldn't even retaliate in his current state. Although Zhao Wuji was put in a difficult position by Tang San in the original novel, Zhao Wuji wasn't serious at all. Otherwise, Tang Xin wouldn't even have had the chance to use hidden weapons. He wasn't Zhao Wuji, and when he was angry, he wouldn't hold back. Furthermore, this guy's hidden weapons even included Zhu Zhuqing. He wasn't angry that Tang Xin used hidden weapons against him, but if he dared to threaten Zhu Zhuqing, he would let Tang San know what cruelty was. Chapter 252. Tang San's body crashed heavily onto the ground, and blood poured out of his mouth. Lu Yuan didn't show any mercy. That strike had broken at least 4 or 5 of Tang San's ribs. Even his internal organs might have been damaged. After glancing at Tang San, who was lying on the ground like a dead dog, Lu Yuan turned around and left. He glanced in a certain direction, where a black-robed figure flashed past. Interesting. Lu Yuan's eyes narrowed, and the corners of his mouth curled into a smile. I was afraid that you wouldn't come. After seeing that there was still a third of the incense stick left, Lu Yuan turned to Ning Rongrong and asked, "Do you still want to continue? No more fighting, no more fighting." Ning Rongrong hurriedly waved her hands and took 2 steps back. Lu Yuan's actions had really frightened her. Why was he suddenly so ruthless? "What about our test?" Zhu Zhuqing asked softly. "You've passed. This kid used his golden dragon spear. That's against the rules." Zhao Wuji's voice sounded. He knew Lu Yuan's golden dragon spear very well. It was very powerful. Even his defense was like paper in the face of the golden dragon spear. Therefore, he didn't dare to let Lu Yuan get close to him. Otherwise, he would be pierced by the spear. Sometimes, Zhao Wuji even suspected that this weapon wasn't something that could be forged by a human. It was much more powerful than ordinary soul bones. "Why are you so ruthless?" Zhao Wuji asked softly. Lu Yuan's actions just now were a little unusual. Why did he suddenly feel like he was angry? He's courting death. Not only did he use those despicable hidden weapons, he even dared to use them on Zhuqing. "I've already shown mercy. Otherwise, he would have been crippled today," Lu Yuan said. Zhao Wuji nodded. He didn't like Tang San's use of hidden weapons. For assault-type soul masters, a battle should be fair and square. Tang San wanted to use these despicable things to trick others, and even included his own teammates. This was a little too much. Therefore, he understood why Lu Yuan was so ruthless. If you can go crazy for the person you love, then others can also beat you up for the person they love. Zhao Wuji's eyes weren't blurry yet. He could still see the relationship between Lu Yuan and Zhu Zhuqing. Then what about this kid? Zhao Wuji pointed at Tang San. Tang San's injuries weren't light. Even if he was treated by a healing-type soul master, he would still have to lie in bed for a few days. "I'll leave it to you. Take him to the doctor. I'll pay for it." Lu Yuan took out a bag of gold coins and tossed it to Zhao Wuji. He knew that Shrek Academy was very poor, and it wouldn't be good for the academy to pay for the injuries he had caused. That's it then. You take these girls to the girls' dormitory. I'll take this brat to Soto City. It's all Xiao Xian's fault. I don't know where he went. Otherwise, we could save some money," Zhao Wuji scolded. Xiao Xian was a food-type soul sage. His healing soul skill was more than enough to treat Tang San's injuries. As for Oscar, his rank was still too low, so his healing soul skill wasn't very effective. After hearing Zhao Wuji's words, Lu Yuan's mouth twitched. So he was spending his own money? His heart was aching. "Zhuqing, go and carry Xiao Wu," Lu Yuan said to Zhu Zhuqing. "Your guy. Shouldn't you carry her?" Zhu Zhuqing didn't say anything, but Ning Rongrong asked, "If Zhuqing is willing to let me carry another girl in front of her, then I'm fine with it." Lu Yuan glanced at Zhu Zhuqing and laughed. "Zhu Zhuqing snorted softly. She walked to Xiao Wu's side and carried her. She used her actions to prove her attitude. Seeing this, Lu Yuan chuckled. This little kitten was indeed a little tsundere, but he liked it. "Follow me. I'll bring you to the girls' dormitory." Lu Yuan walked in front. Zhu Zhuqing carried Xiao Wu and followed behind him. Ning Rongrong followed closely behind Zhu Zhuqing. "Lu Yuan, how did your strength increase so quickly? You were only rank 29 2 years ago. Now, you're already rank 46. That's a jump of 17 ranks. How did you cultivate? Ning Rongrong was very puzzled. She really wanted to figure this out. His cultivation speed was too terrifying. I just had some miraculous encounters. Lu Yuan couldn't be bothered to talk about his experiences. Ning Rongrong wasn't related to him. Of course, if Zhu Zhuqing asked him in private, he would naturally answer. Oh, after receiving such a perfunctory answer, Ning Rongrong lowered her head and didn't say anything. She just followed behind Lu Yuan. Not long after, Lu Yuan brought them to the girls' dormitory. Here, this is a double room. Ning Rongrong, you and Xiao Wu can stay here, Lu Yuan said and nodded to Zhu Zhuqing. Zhu Zhuqing put Xiao Wu on the bed and covered her with a blanket. Then she asked, "Is she okay?" Her voice was a little cold, but there was a trace of concern. Lu Yuan glanced at Zhu Zhuqing. Even after more than 2 years of experience, Zhu Zhuqing was still the kind-hearted girl from back then. When Zhu Zhuqing was chased by the blood-winged golden mosquitoes and saw him, she would rather die than lead the blood-winged golden mosquitoes to him. It was also from that moment that Lu Yuan was a little surprised and had a good impression of this girl. In the end, they got together. It's okay. She just suffered a mental backlash from using the charm skill on me. She'll be fine after resting for a night. Lu Yuan rubbed Zhu Zhuqing's head and smiled. Okay. Zhu Zhuqing nodded softly. Then I'll have to trouble you to take care of her for a while. Zhuqing and I will leave first. Lu Yuan said to Ning Rongrong. Isn't Zhu Zhuqing staying here? Ning Rongrong asked. I have my own arrangements for Zhuqing's accommodation, Lu Yuan said plainly. He pulled Zhu Zhuqing's hand and walked out. Lu Yuan didn't seem to be in a hurry to find a place for Zhu Zhuqing to stay. He held her hand and strolled around Shrek Academy. Speaking of which, where did you find a place for me to stay? We've been walking for so long. Zhu Zhuqing lifted her head and looked at Lu Yuan doubtfully. Where are you staying? You're staying with me. Lu Yuan pinched Zhu Zhuqing's nose and smiled. Ah, Zhu Zhuqing looked at Lu Yuan in shock. That's not good. Why? You don't want to stay with me? We used to sleep in the same tent. Lu Yuan looked at Zhu Zhuqing expressionlessly and asked. No, it's not that I don't want to. It's just that this is the academy. It's not very good. Zhu Zhuqing thought that Lu Yuan was angry when she saw his expressionless face. Haha, I'm just teasing you. Lu Yuan chuckled when he saw Zhu Zhuqing's anxious look and said, I just want to walk around with you alone. Your place isn't far from mine. I built that house especially for you. Chapter 253. He knew that Zhu Zhuqing would come this year, so he naturally wouldn't let Zhu Zhuqing share a room with others. There were many rooms in Shrek Academy, but there weren't many in good condition. Apart from a few dormitories, the rest of the rooms could be used as storerooms, but they were a little shabby for people to live in. So a long time ago, Lu Yuan built a small wooden house for Zhu Zhuqing not far from his own wooden house. He built it all by himself. With his strength and intelligence, building a small wooden house wasn't a piece of cake. Really, hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing looked at Lu Yuan with sparkling eyes. Her heart was filled with sweetness. Not only was this man reliable, but he also knew how to dote on others. He was really good to her. When she was training on the continent, he used the power of the entire continent's Martial Soul Branch Hall to protect her. Now that they were in Shrek Academy, he knew that she liked peace and quiet, and he even built a small wooden house for her. Zhu Zhuqing was really touched. Let's go. I'll take you to see your house. Lu Yuan chuckled. He held Zhu Zhuqing's hand and walked towards their house. How is it? Are you satisfied? Lu Yuan asked with a smile as he looked at the exquisite wooden house in front of him. Yes, I'm very satisfied. Thank you, Lu Yuan. Looking at the simple but not simple wooden house, Zhu Zhuqing liked it very much. It was nice to be alone and quiet. That's my wooden house. We're very close. Lu Yuan smiled as he pointed to another wooden house about 30 meters away. This place was a rare, quiet place in Shrek. The vegetation was quite lush, and Lu Yuan liked it. He thought that with Zhu Zhuqing's character, she would like it too. Therefore, he built another wooden house for Zhu Zhuqing next to his own wooden house. As for the Academy's opinion, after Lu Yuan threw down 5,000 gold coins and guaranteed that he would pay for the materials for the wooden house, Flinder didn't have any objections. Yes, looking at Lu Yuan's wooden house not far away, Zhu Zhuqing nodded slightly, a trace of a smile on her somewhat cold face. Lu Yuan gently stroked Zhu Zhuqing's cheek. At this moment, no one was obstructing them. They could release their feelings to their heart's content. Zhu Zhuqing's eyes narrowed as Lu Yuan stroked her cheeks. She grabbed Lu Yuan's hand tightly. Hugging Zhu Zhuqing's waist, Lu Yuan gently sealed Zhu Zhuqing's red lips, savoring the sweet fragrance from Zhu Zhuqing. Zhu Zhuqing also responded enthusiastically, telling her how much she missed Lu Yuan. 15 minutes later, Zhu Zhuqing lay docilely in Lu Yuan's arms. She had a tranquil expression on her face, just like before. Gently playing with Zhu Zhuqing's hair, Lu Yuan gently kissed Zhu Zhuqing's forehead and asked, "Zhuqing, can you tell me how you've been all these years?" He was very curious about Zhu Zhuqing's experiences. Although there was some news from the Martial Soul Palace sometimes, it was very one-sided. How could it compare to Zhu Zhuqing's personal narration? Yes, Zhu Zhuqing gently nodded. Then, she slowly told Lu Yuan about her experiences over the years. Zhu Zhuqing spoke very calmly, but Lu Yuan could feel the danger and hardships under this calmness. It seemed like Zhu Zhuqing's current cultivation was exchanged with hard work and struggle. "It's been hard on you, Zhuqing." After hearing Zhu Zhuqing's experiences, Lu Yuan felt a little heartache. He tightly hugged Zhu Zhuqing's delicate body and lovingly stroked Zhu Zhuqing's cheeks. "What about you?" Zhu Zhuqing looked at Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan's abilities had crossed 17 ranks in 2 years. This was a little shocking. To be able to achieve such progress, Lu Yuan's hard work must not have been inferior to hers. After hearing this, Lu Yuan also told Zhu Zhuqing about his experiences. This included challenging the Heaven Do Imperial Academy, befriending Ning Fengji, training in the Great Star Do Forest, joining Shrek Academy, and so on. Lu Yuan didn't hide anything from her, except for some secrets that involved Chihiro Snow and Gu Yuna. This included Long Xiaoyao's existence. After learning that there was an ultimate Douluo protecting Lu Yuan at all times, Zhu Zhuqing was astonished. That was an ultimate Douluo, a rank 99 ultimate Douluo. He was a legendary existence, but he was actually her man's subordinate. Zhu Zhuqing really felt that she couldn't see through this man in front of her. This man was always so mysterious. However, no matter how mysterious he was still her man. He was someone she could rely on. Zhu Zhuqing was filled with pride. Choosing Lu Yuan was the best decision she had made in her life. "If there's a chance in the future, I'll bring you to cancel the marriage. No matter who tries to stop us, I'll get rid of them. If the Star Luo Imperial family doesn't agree, I'll kill them all. After all, you, Zhu Zhuqing, can only belong to me in this life." Lu Yuan leaned against Zhu Zhuqing's ear and whispered. His tone was undeniably domineering. "Okay." Zhu Zhuqing nodded gently. She was like a docile kitten. However, she was very happy and elated. To be able to fall in love with a man like Lu Yuan was enough for her. She didn't want anything else. Night fell. Lu Yuan and Zhu Zhuqing chatted for a long time. After all, they hadn't seen each other for more than 2 years. They had endless things to talk about. They went to the cafeteria for dinner. Because they were too engrossed in chatting, they forgot the time. They didn't have any ingredients, so they could only eat in the cafeteria. However, Lu Yuan decided that he must let Zhu Zhuqing taste his cooking tomorrow. He still remembered that Zhu Zhuqing loved to eat his grilled fish. After dinner, they strolled around the campus. Then, the two returned to the wooden house. It was already dark. Zhu Zhuqing had just returned to her wooden house not long ago. Lu Yuan patted his palms lightly and prepared to start cultivating. Suddenly, a voice entered his ears. "Come out." This was a rough voice with a trace of dominance. It could be imagined that the owner of this voice must be a muscular man, just like Zhao Wuji. "Oh, he really came." Lu Yuan chuckled. He knew the owner of this voice better than anyone else. It was indeed extremely protective. He didn't distinguish between right and wrong at all. Of course, he was also such a person. Moreover, Lu Yuan was already prepared for this person. Gently opening the door, Lu Yuan walked out. In a small forest outside Shrek Academy, Lu Yuan's figure slowly appeared. "Come out." As his figure landed, a black-robed man walked out. He held a sledgehammer in his hand. With every step he took, a soul ring appeared under his feet. With every step he took, a strong aura was released. Yellow, purple, purple, black, black, and red soul rings flickered with dazzling light. At the same time, a heavy and violent aura pressed down on Lu Yuan like a mountain. Chapter 254. Lu Yuan's legs turned to jelly as he was suppressed by the black-robed man's domineering aura. That mountain-like aura was simply too frightening. This aura far exceeded that of the chrysanthemum Douluo and the ghost Douluo. It was even comparable to the golden crocodile's aura. What a vast heaven Douluo! The mountain-like aura pressed down on Lu Yuan's body and made Lu Yuan feel as if he was suffocating. Even the bones in his body seemed to creak and groan. A tidal Douluo's aura was enough to suppress an ordinary soul sage. Furthermore, Tang Hao was no ordinary tidal Douluo. The pressure that his aura gave Lu Yuan was simply too great. After all, Lu Yuan was only rank 46. His current abilities were similar to Zhao Wuji's. Zhao Wuji couldn't withstand Tang Hao's pressure, and he naturally couldn't either. However, even though he couldn't resist Tang Hao's aura, there was no need for him to resist it. Lu Yuan's body suddenly emitted a dazzling blue light that spread out like water ripples. Tang Hao's imposing aura, which was as heavy as a mountain, could not resist at all in the face of this spreading blue wave and was completely expelled. The blue light didn't spread out more than 2 meters, but it still surrounded Lu Yuan. Tang Hao's violent aura was outside, but there was no pressure inside. Lu Yuan could even place his hands behind his back calmly. The vast heaven Douluo is indeed extraordinary. However, your aura is useless against me. Lu Yuan's expression was calm as he looked at Tang Hao. The vast sea cosmic shroud had many miraculous uses. With it protecting him, Tang Hao's aura couldn't do anything to him. Tang Hao couldn't help but exclaim when he saw the blue light on Lu Yuan's body expelling his aura. This kid in front of him wasn't simple. What was that blue light? Was it a domain? Tang Hao was a little perplexed as he looked at the blue waves of light that surrounded Lu Yuan. Even a domain shouldn't be able to resist his aura. After all, he was the vast sky Douluo. This kid was a little strange. Tang Hao thought to himself, but he was not going to stop. Tang Hao could not help but narrow his eyes when he saw that the kid obviously knew his identity. The great vast sky Douluo is bullying a junior like me in the middle of the night. Isn't that a little unreasonable? Lu Yuan said indifferently as he looked at Tang Hao. After hitting the young one, the old one will naturally avenge the young one. Isn't this the law of nature? Tang Hao said, "Oh, it seems that Tang San from the day is your son. Interesting. So you intend to bully the young?" Lu Yuan smiled lightly, but a trace of coldness flashed through his eyes. "Bully the young?" Tang Hao shook his head gently and said, "Kid, let me teach you something. In this world, the weak are prey to the strong. The so-called rules are worthless. The fist is the law of the land. You severely injure my son in the day, so I'll do the same to you. Don't worry, I won't take your life." Tang Hao said. "Haha, thank you very much." Lu Yuan laughed coldly. His eyes were filled with coldness. He and Tang Hao were of the same generation. Perhaps he was a little too heavy-handed, but he didn't expect Tang Hao to lower himself and deal with him personally. This was good too. Don't blame him for not holding back. "Elder Long, did you hear what Tang Hao said?" Lu Yuan looked at Tang Hao calmly and said softly, "Master, I heard." Long Xiaoyao's figure instantly appeared in front of Lu Yuan. He looked at Tang Hao with a sharp gaze. He didn't leak any aura from his body, but he gave Tang Hao an indescribable sense of pressure. "You are?" Tang Hao was shocked when he saw Long Xiaoyao appear in front of him. He didn't sense his aura at all and couldn't see through his abilities. He was the vast sky Douluo, Tang Hao. There was actually someone in this world that he couldn't see through. Tang Hao felt a chill in his heart. He had a bad feeling. I am Long Xiaoyao. My title is the Dragon Emperor. Dragon Emperor? Tang Hao was stunned. He had never heard of this title before. Could he be an expert from a hidden sect? Long Xiaoyao had only appeared in the Heaven Do Imperial Academy so far. There were indeed people who recognized him, and his name naturally made its way into the ears of the various great powers. However, Tang had been either in the Holy Soul Village or Noden City all these years. He naturally didn't know anything about Long Xiaoyao. Master, how should we deal with this person? Long Xiaoyao looked at Tang Hao. He was rank 95, and his aura wasn't bad. However, it was only not bad. It seemed like he was still injured. Long Xiaoyao didn't care about him at all. He said that he wouldn't kill me if he severely injured me, so I'll spare his life. I'll just beat him half to death. Lu Yuan waved his hand and said casually, Yes, master. Long Xiaoyao's body flashed with black light as he looked at Tang Hao. Dragon roars rang out, and the dark sky became even darker. A huge black dragon with 2 wings appeared behind Long Xiaoyao. 9 soul rings, yellow, yellow, purple, black, black, red, and red, rippled beneath Long Xiaoyao's body. This was the first time Long Xiaoyao had released his martial soul apart from his battle with DT on. It seemed like Long Xiaoyao was determined to beat up Tang Hao, who dared to bully his master. The harder one's fist is the most important thing. Let's see who's harder. 200,000-year soul rings. And this aura, he's an ultimate Douluo? Tang Hao revealed a look of shock on his sallow face. No wonder he couldn't sense this elder's abilities. He was an ultimate Douluo like his grandfather. Tang Hao revealed a determined look on his face. He knew that he had to give it his all. Otherwise, he would lose terribly. However, he didn't know that the outcome wouldn't change even if he unleashed his full strength. Clear sky body. Tang Hao's 7th soul ring lit up, and his clear sky hammer swelled into the size of a small hill. He smashed it towards Long Xiaoyao. Barely passable. Long Xiaoyao didn't use any soul skills. He only used his dragon claw to grab it. Bang! The dragon claw and the clear sky hammer clashed, and an earth-shattering sound was heard. Waves of energy rippled outwards like shock waves, destroying all the trees around them. Lu Yuan's vast sea cosmic barrier shone brightly and blocked the energy ripples. He was very far away from the battlefield, but he couldn't block the energy ripples by himself. He had to rely on his vast sea cosmic barrier to block them. His abilities were comparable to a soul sage. Indeed, a titled Douluo was a titled Douluo. No wonder they were the most powerful people in the Douluo continent. Not a bad attack, but it's a pity that it's still too weak. Long Xiaoyao's voice sounded. A huge black dragon claw slammed down on Tang Hao's body and slammed him into the ground. Chapter 255. The black dragon claw slammed Tang Hao into the ground like it was slapping an ant. As for why Long Xiaoyao could turn into a dragon claw without using any soul skills, it was very simple. It was because of dragon form. Even the blue lightning tyrant dragon had dragon form. What more the darkness holy dragon? As long as one had a pure-blooded dragon martial soul, there was no one who couldn't dragon form. Dragon form sounded very high-end, but it was only a basic skill for pure-blooded dragons like the golden dragon and the darkness holy dragon. Of course, even though it was basic, it was still very powerful. Long Xiaoyao could use his dragon claw to slap Tang Hao's Hao-Ian true body away. On one hand, it was because of his higher rank than Tang Hao. On the other hand, it was because of dragon form. Of course, it was also because of Long Xiaoyao's 2 soul cores. What was the biggest difference between a fighting 2 soul master and a fighting 1 soul master? It was the existence of soul cores. Soul cores could not only compress soul power and increase the quality of soul power, but they could also store soul power. A soul master with a soul core was much stronger than a soul master without a soul core of the same rank. It could be said that the three ultimate Douluo, Thousand Douluo, Tang Chun, and Poseidon were no match for Long Xiaoyao if they didn't use their divine power and fought one-on-one, with the exception of Tang Chun, who could explode his bracelet. Of course, Long Xiaoyao might be a little inferior if he used his divine power. This was especially so for Pasizi. She could even borrow the strength of the entire ocean in the Sea God's Hall. She might even be able to fight Di Tian, who used his Dragon God's Claw. She had even reached the demigod realm. In fact, Lu Yuan had always been very interested in the method of condensing a soul core. It was just that he wasn't powerful enough yet, and his spiritual power was also lacking. Condensing a soul core required a lot of spiritual power. According to his plan, he would only try to condense a soul core after his spiritual power reached the soul Douluo level. He wasn't in a hurry now. He already knew how to condense a soul core and had been studying it all this time. As for how he learned it, it was naturally taught by Long Xiaoyao. Tang Hao crawled up from the ground. He was covered in mud, and blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. He was already injured, and Long Xiaoyao's slap had aggravated his old injuries. As he looked up at Long Xiaoyao, he knew that he was going to lose this time. However, even though he knew that he couldn't defeat Long Xiaoyao, he wasn't going to give up so easily. After all, he was Tang Hao, the vast sky Douluo Tang Hao. With the clear sky hammer in hand, Tang Hao charged towards Long Xiaoyao once again. This imposing manner was worthy of affirmation. But as for the result, bang! Another hole appeared on the ground. Long Xiaoyao gently swung his black dragon claws. His expression was calm and composed. Tang Hao exhaled gently. He felt the injuries on his body, and a fierce look flashed across his eyes. His first yellow soul ring suddenly exploded and turned into a yellow energy that was injected into the clear sky hammer. He charged towards Long Xiaoyao with a domineering aura. Explosive soul rings? That's interesting. Long Xiaoyao said softly. His fourth black soul ring suddenly lit up. Fourth soul skill, Black Dragon Holy Claw. Bang! Another shockwave surged, and a huge boom was heard. Lu Yuan's expression was calm. As he looked at Tang Hao, he didn't feel anything. While his explosive soul rings were strong, the gap between him and Long Xiaoyao was too big. Even if it was called a divine skill, so what? When the gap in abilities reached a certain level, no matter how many tricks one had, they couldn't break through everything with brute force. After being sent flying by Long Xiaoyao's claw once again, Tang Hao spat out blood. His second, third, and fourth soul rings actually exploded at the same time. The clear sky hammer carried an explosive aura as it charged towards Long Xiaoyao. This move is interesting. 3 soul rings exploded at the same time. This strength was relatively violent. However, it wasn't much of a threat to Long Xiaoyao. Furthermore, explosive soul rings were very harmful to one's body. This was especially so since Tang Hao was severely injured. If they continued to explode, he would definitely die. Their battle was too intense. Although they were a little far from Shrek, Flinder and the others could definitely sense it. Flinder opened his wings and rushed over with Zhao Wuji in his hand. The two of them naturally didn't dare to enter the battle between Long Xiaoyao and Tang Hao. With their abilities, the shock waves from their battle could kill them. Without the abilities of a titled soul master or above, it was impossible to get close to them. Flinder's eyes were sharp. He immediately saw Lu Yuan and flew towards Lu Yuan. "What's going on?" Flinder asked Lu Yuan. As he spoke, he glanced at the battle in the distance. His face was trembling a little. "What kind of gods are they? Their abilities are really impressive." "It's very simple. I beat up a guy in the day. At night, his father came to seek revenge. He fought with the people who were protecting me." Lu Yuan said softly. "You're saying that person is Tang San's father?" Zhao Wuji was shocked. Tang San actually had a titled Douluo for a father. "That's the vast heaven Douluo?" As he looked at the familiar vast heaven hammer and red soul rings, Flinder suddenly thought of something. He couldn't help but glance at Lu Yuan. "What, the vast heaven Douluo?" Zhao Wuji was shocked. This was the vast heaven Douluo who dared to beat up the Pope. He didn't expect Tang San to be his son. Furthermore, from what Lu Yuan said, this vast heaven didn't even care about the dignity of a titled Douluo. He personally dealt with a junior. Wasn't that a little shameless? But from the looks of it, he seemed to have been beaten up. If the vast heaven Douluo was beaten up, how strong was that black-robed elder? Yes, it's him, Tang Hao, the so-called vast heaven Douluo, Lu Yuan said calmly. Then who is that black-robed elder? Flinder's heart twitched as he looked at Long Xiaoyao's 200,000-year soul rings. Who is this elder? He actually beat the vast heaven Douluo to the ground. Dragon Emperor Douluo Long Xiaoyao. Dean, don't tell me you've never heard of him before. Lu Yuan said. I have some impression of him. Flinder stroked his sharp chin. He seemed to be familiar with the title of the Dragon Emperor Douluo. While Flinder was thinking, the battle on the field had already reached its climax. Vast Heaven Hammer, Chaotic Cloak. Tang Hao's 5, 6, and 7 soul rings exploded at the same time. He unleashed his Chaotic Cloak Wind Hammer technique. The strength of this attack was probably at rank 98. In addition to the Chaotic Cloak, its strength couldn't be underestimated. The enormous hammer carried a black tail of flames as it swept towards Long Xiaoyao. Martial Soul True Body. Long Xiaoyao transformed into a huge black dragon. He roared into the sky, and his huge black dragon tail swung towards the vast heaven hammer. Bang! This huge sound was earth-shattering. The shockwaves from the explosion blew Flinder and Zhao Wuji away. Even Lu Yuan took more than 10 steps back under the protection of his vast sea cosmic barrier before he could stabilize himself. Chapter 256. Long Xiaoyao unleashed his true abilities after unleashing his martial soul true body. How strong was an ultimate Douluo? It was something that an ordinary titled Douluo couldn't imagine. Tang Hao's attack was comparable to the Golden Crocodile's attack after his 5, 6, and 7 soul rings exploded at the same time. It was definitely at rank 98. To be able to surpass a transcendent Douluo by 3 ranks, one had to admit that Tang Hao's exploding soul rings was indeed impressive. There was a huge gap between the ultimate Douluo and those below it. Once an ultimate Douluo got serious, those below the ultimate Douluo would quickly be defeated. Unless a rank 98 peak Douluo could comprehend the power of the spirit realm, they wouldn't be able to fight an ultimate Douluo. However, there wasn't anyone in the Douluo continent who could comprehend the power of the spirit realm. There were very few people who could comprehend the concept of the spirit realm. The black dragon's tail collided with the clear sky hammer's body and caused an explosion in the air. Following this, the black dragon's tail tore through the clear sky hammer's attack. The clear sky hammer in Tang Hao's hand was sent flying, and the black dragon's tail slammed into Tang Hao's body. Tang Hao immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. Many of his bones were broken, and he was embedded in the ground. He couldn't stop vomiting blood. His originally waxy yellow face had become as golden as paper. This time, he was really beaten half to death. Long Xiaoyao slowly descended. He looked at Tang Hao, who was lying on the ground like a dead dog. His expression didn't change at all. He walked towards Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan slowly retracted his vast sea cosmic shroud. Although this shroud could ignore the suppression of auras, it still depended on Lu Yuan's own abilities when it came to true energy impacts. The shockwave from earlier was simply far too powerful. Even though Lu Yuan had the vast sea cosmic shroud to protect him, he was still forced back more than 10 steps. One had to realize that his strength was comparable to that of a soul, Douluo, and he had the vast sea cosmic shroud to protect himself. Furthermore, he was a relatively high-tier soul Douluo. However, he was still pushed back by the shockwave. One could imagine how powerful the shockwave was and how intense the battle between the two was. Master, Long Xiaoyao walked in front of Lu Yuan and ignored Flinder and Zhao Wuji. Elder Long, what happened to Tang Hao? Is he dead? Lu Yuan asked. Of course not. Long Xiaoyao shook his head and said, however, he's severely injured. He'll have to lie in bed for at least half a month before he can get out of bed. It's impossible for him to fully recover, and he can't use his full strength in the future. Otherwise, he'll die without a doubt if his old injuries are triggered. Oh, Lu Yuan nodded gently. In that case, Tang Hao is really crippled. He was already severely injured, and he even dared to blow up his soul rings when he fought me. His body is already severely injured. I even broke a few of his ribs. In the future, he can only unleash the strength of a titled Douluo if he suppresses his injuries. Once he exceeds that, his passageways will be severed. Even a god won't be able to save him. Long Xiaoyao said plainly, this is still because his soul power is domineering, and he can suppress his injuries. However, it seems like he can't suppress them for much longer. His injuries are going to backfire. Furthermore, there's basically no healing type soul master who can heal him. Unless Elder Bai Ji helps him? Lu Yuan asked. Yes, but Bai Ji won't help him. Di Tian won't allow it. Long Xiaoyao said. Yes. Lu Yuan nodded. Although Di Tian was very polite to him, that was because of Gu Yuna's orders and his own bloodline. Di Tian himself hated humans. Although Bicky was kind-hearted, she still had to listen to Di Tian. It was basically impossible for him to save Tang Hao. Unless Lu Yuan helped him, there might be a chance. However, Tang Hao was the Martial Soul Palace's eternal enemy. Lu Yuan was already being merciful by not killing him. Why would he save him? Flender and Zhao Wuji were confused when they heard Lu Yuan and Long Xiaoyao's words. What Di Tian? What Bai Ji? They had never heard of them before. However, they were clear about one thing. The vast Sky Douluo was almost crippled. At least, he was half crippled. In the future, he could only fight with ordinary title Douluo. Once he used strength that exceeded that level, his body would collapse. A look of sympathy flashed across Zhao Wuji's eyes as he looked at Tang Hao in the small hole in the distance. During the day, your son was beaten up until he vomited blood. A few of his ribs were broken, and he had to be bedridden for a week. At night, you were beaten up again. You have to be bedridden for at least half a month. The two of you are really unlucky. However, it's your own fault for finding trouble. It's fine if your son is beaten up. He'll be fine after being bedridden for a week. As a titled Douluo, Tang Hao actually lowered his face to find trouble with his soul ancestor. Now, he's beaten up so badly that even his mother can't recognize him. Not only will he have to be bedridden for more than half a month, his strength will also decrease. In the future, he'll have to bear injuries that won't heal. He's really asking for trouble. Zhao Wuji had a look of sympathy on his face. However, he didn't know that if it weren't for Lu Yuan, he would have been beaten up by Tang Hao tonight. It was Lu Yuan's appearance that prevented him from being beaten up. Let's go, Elder Long. Lu Yuan didn't look at Tang Hao's miserable state. He turned and left. Looking at the two of them leaving, Zhao Wuji asked Flender, Boss, what about the vast sky? Find a villager and settle him down. We can't let titled Douluo lie here. Flender rubbed his chin gently. What about after that? After what? Flender asked doubtfully. Don't we need to treat his injuries? Zhao Wuji asked. Treat his injuries? Flender looked at Zhao Wuji like he was looking at an idiot. Do you have money? No. Zhao Wuji shook his head. Then why are you talking about treating his injuries? Treating injuries doesn't cost money. Furthermore, Flender changed the topic and said, Didn't you hear what the Dragon Emperor said? The vast sky Douluo's injuries can't be treated. Why waste money? Anyway, a titled Douluo's body is strong. He won't die. Just leave him there. Flender said indifferently. Anyway, he wasn't the one who injured Tang Hao. He didn't have the ability to do so. Settling him down was already extremely benevolent. Who asked him to bully the weak? He deserved it. No matter what, Lu Yuan was already a student of Shrek Academy. Tang Hao bullied the weak. Furthermore, he bullied his own student. Flender was already unhappy. How could he still treat Tang Hao? He wasn't a nanny. Furthermore, Tang Hao was a titled Douluo. He could just lie down for half a month. Anyway, he wouldn't die. Taking care of his meals for half a month was already extremely benevolent. Chapter 257. Knock knock. Soft knocks could be heard from outside the wooden hut. Lu Yuan was immediately jolted awake from his meditation. He was a little late yesterday because of Tang Hao's matter, so he spent a little more time meditating today. Creak. He opened the door gently, and Zhu Zhuqing's cold face entered his sight. Good morning, Zhuqing. Lu Yuan's eyes lit up when he saw Zhu Zhuqing, who was already dressed up. Good morning. Why are you up so late today? Zhu Zhuqing was a little confused. Lu Yuan usually woke up very early. Something happened last night, so I woke up late. Lu Yuan held Zhu Zhuqing's hand and pulled her into the wooden hut. After that, he told her everything that happened last night. He also told her about how long Xiaoyao beat up Tang Hao. The vast heaven Douluo is actually so shameless. Zhu Zhuqing was a little angry. A titled Douluo was actually willing to lower himself to deal with his soul ancestor. He was really shameless. This is the tradition of the Clear Sky sect. They're always protecting their own. It's not just the Clear Sky sect. Their subsidiary family, the Clan of Strength, is also a classic example. When you beat up the young, the old comes. However, with Elder Long around, he's the only one who's unlucky. The so-called vast heaven Douluo is almost crippled. Lu Yuan smiled and said, Yes, as long as you're fine. Zhu Zhuqing said softly. She didn't care about the vast heaven Douluo. Whether he was dead or alive had nothing to do with her. In her heart, it was enough as long as Lu Yuan was safe. Of course I'm fine. Zhuqing, take a seat first. I'll go and wash up. Lu Yuan said. Okay. Zhu Zhuqing replied softly. After washing up, Lu Yuan held Zhu Zhuqing's hand and walked towards the canteen. Almost everyone was there, including Dai Mubai. Of course, Tang Xin wasn't there. Tang Xin was still lying on the bed because he was still injured. On the other hand, Xiao Wu was present. Her face was still somewhat pale. However, the gaze she directed at Lu Yuan was filled with hostility. It was likely due to him injuring Tang San. Lu Yuan naturally ignored her gaze. He couldn't be bothered with a mere rabbit. Anyway, when the time came, she would know what cruelty was. What was the use of haggling over it now? Boss Yuan. Ma Hongjuan's eyes were sharp. He spotted Lu Yuan at a glance, and immediately greeted him with a smile. Ning Rongrong raised her head, smiled at the two, and nodded. After one night, this girl seemed a little different. Lu Yuan knew that Ning Rongrong had feelings for him. He was not a blockhead, but he was really not interested in Ning Rongrong. So sometimes he didn't pay much attention to her. As for what was going on in her head, he might not know. Unlike Zhu Zhuqing, Lu Yuan's thoughts were all on her. When she frowned, Lu Yuan knew what she was worried about. With one look, he knew what she wanted to say. The two of them already had a tacit understanding between them. Of course, the one who had the best tacit understanding with Lu Yuan was still Chihiro Snow. Sometimes, when the two of them were together, no matter what he wanted to do, Chihiro Snow would be able to cooperate with him very well. Among his current women, Chihiro Snow's IQ should be the highest. Gu Yuna could only be considered half of it now, because their relationship had not been completely confirmed yet. Gu Yuna's scheming was indeed top-notch, but her temperament was much simpler. Her understanding of human nature was not as good as Chihiro Snow's. Chihiro Snow really learned how to understand human nature from a young age. Sometimes, when facing Chihiro Snow, Lu Yuan would feel a little pressured because she was too smart. Smart women were not easy to fool. Cough cough. Back to the main topic. Seeing Lu Yuan's arrival, Oscar's face had a wretched smile. Lu Yuan, aren't you going to introduce this to us? Lu Yuan looked at him with amusement. His eyes looked around and said, Her name is Zhu Zhuqing. She's my girlfriend. Zhu Zhuqing, a good name, a nice name, and a beautiful person. Oscar giggled. Kacha. An ear-piercing sound was heard. Dai Mubai was holding a piece of wood in his hand, which was broken off from the table just now. Dai Mubai's face was very ugly. His pair of evil eyes looked back and forth between Lu Yuan and Zhu Zhuqing. Lu Yuan naturally did not pay attention to him. If he dared to find trouble with him, then Lu Yuan would really think highly of him. Unfortunately, he did not have the guts. Sitting on the chair, he could only glare at the two of them. Huh, is this the legendary gaze that can kill? Lu Yuan did not pay attention to Dai Mubai, and Zhu Zhuqing did not as well. To her, Dai Mubai was already a stranger. She only had Lu Yuan in her heart now. He was the one who abandoned Zhu Zhuqing first, so he could not blame Zhu Zhuqing and Lu Yuan for privately pledging their lives to each other. Everyone had the right to pursue happiness. Hiss! Shocked by Dai Mubai's expression, Oscar felt that the atmosphere in the cafeteria seemed to be a little strange. Other than him and Fatty, everyone else's eyes seemed to be focused on Lu Yuan. One was full of hostility, one was a little bit of love, and one was deeply unfriendly. However, Lu Yuan's expression did not change. He pulled Zhu Zhuqing to sit down and quietly ate breakfast. To be honest, Oscar felt that it was a little awkward and at a loss for him to stay in such an environment. Moreover, the beautiful girl named Ning Rongrong seemed to have feelings for Lu Yuan. This made Oscar, who had just felt the budding of love, suffer a heavy blow. But fortunately, it was his first time meeting Ning Rongrong. He was only surprised by her looks, and it was not love yet. After being depressed for a while, he did not care about it anymore. He went to one side and ate breakfast with Ma Hongjun. Come, Zhu Qing, have an egg. Lu Yuan handed the white and tender egg in his hand to Zhu Zhuqing. Shrek Academy's breakfast had never been good, and eggs were considered a high-end ingredient. And Zhu Zhuqing received the egg and ate it in small bites. She was a little shy with everyone's gazes, but after more than 2 years of experience, her temperament was no longer the same as before. She could bear with just a few gazes. Furthermore, with Lu Yuan beside her, she was exceptionally relaxed. She did not feel nervous at all. Seeing their intimate actions, Dai Mubai clenched his fists so tightly that his knuckles cracked. His face was ashen. Zhu Zhuqing, his fiancée, was actually so close to another man. No wonder he felt that something was wrong when he heard the word kitten. It turned out that Lu Yuan's kitten was actually his fiancée. Dai Mubai only felt that his head seemed to have become much heavier. He wanted to find trouble with Lu Yuan and question them. However, when he thought of Lu Yuan's terrifying strength, Dai Mubai was a little hesitant. He was hesitant and could only look at the two of them unkindly. Chapter 258. Unlike the original Shrek's 7 monsters, who got along harmoniously, the current Shrek's 7 monsters didn't have a good relationship with one another. Zhu Zhuqing was his woman. Ning Rongrong was the closest to him, and Oscar and Ma Hongjun were also quite close to him. In Lu Yuan's eyes, the division of Shrek's 7 monsters was already beginning to take shape, and it would be very difficult for them to unite as one as they had in the original novel. Lu Yuan didn't spend much effort on all of this, and he only pushed them a little. After breakfast, it was naturally time for Flinder to gather. After lecturing everyone, he asked everyone to go back and gather at night. Only Ning Rongrong and Oscar were left behind. Lu Yuan knew that another scene was about to unfold. The little witch was still a little witch, especially when Lu Yuan wasn't around. She couldn't be bothered to pretend. Ning Rongrong, who hadn't experienced any hardships, would sometimes restrain herself in front of Lu Yuan, but that was because she had seen Lu Yuan's prowess and knew about Lu Yuan's background. In addition, she liked Lu Yuan, so she wouldn't throw a tantrum in front of Lu Yuan. However, things were very different now that the target was Oscar. It wasn't that easy to woo Ning Rongrong, especially when she had already made up her mind not to give up on Lu Yuan. Oscar could only return empty-handed. However, these weren't things that he had to worry about. At this moment, he was holding Zhu Zhuqing's hand and preparing to take a stroll in Soto City. Speaking of which, he had gone shopping with Ulina in Martial Soul City and Chihiro Snow in the Heaven Do Empire, but he hadn't gone shopping with Zhu Zhuqing. He had to make up for that. He couldn't favor one and discriminate against the other. He had to be fair. Suddenly, Lu Yuan stopped in his tracks and looked in a direction. "Come out. I can already see you." After he finished speaking, Dai Mubai walked out from behind a tree. "It's you. I thought you weren't coming." Lu Yuan said calmly as he looked at Dai Mubai. "You knew I would come?" Dai Mubai asked with a surprised look on his face. I've heard about you from Zhu Qing, Lu Yuan said as he held Zhu Zhuqing's hand. Really? Since that's the case, you should know that Zhu Zhuqing is my fiancé. Dai Mubai looked at Lu Yuan with a hint of anger in his voice. So what? Are you worthy of her? Lu Yuan looked at Dai Mubai with disdain. Where were you when Zhu Qing needed protection the most? Where were you when Zhu Qing was facing her own sister's assassination attempt? When Zhu Qing was being chased by soul beasts and was on the verge of death? Where were you? You abandoned Zhu Qing and only cared about running away. What right do you have to say that she's your fiancé? Me? Shocked by Lu Yuan's words, Dai Mubai took a few steps back. He wanted to refute, but he didn't know what to say. It's fine if you're willing to be a pervert and spend your days eating and waiting for death, but do you want Zhu Qing to die with you in the future? Lu Yuan's eyes were sharp, and his aura surged, making Dai Mubai feel pressured. His breathing quickened, and his face turned pale. Let me tell you, from today onwards, Zhu Zhuqing has nothing to do with you, Dai Mubai. She's no longer the princess consort of the Xianra Empire. She can only be my, Lu Yuan's, woman for the rest of her life. As for you, go wherever you want to die. If you dare to pester Zhu Qing in the future, don't blame me for being ruthless. Lu Yuan's tone was threatening, and a trace of killing intent flashed across his eyes. If Dai Mubai really stuck to her like a dog-skin plaster, he didn't mind sending him to heaven. He would never allow anyone to touch his woman. After he finished speaking, he no longer paid attention to Dai Mubai. He pulled Zhu Zhuqing's hand and turned to leave. Dai Mubai looked at Lu Yuan's departing figure with an uncertain expression. He was unwilling to accept that Lu Yuan had snatched Zhu Zhuqing away, but he was also blaming himself for his depravity and inaction. Speaking of which, it was a lie to say that his feelings for Zhu Zhuqing were deep. Although the two of them were engaged at a young age, they didn't interact much. When Dai Mubai left, he was disheartened and had completely given up on fighting for the throne. When he was hanging around with women, did he ever consider Zhu Zhuqing? The reason why he was so angry was that he couldn't bear the humiliation of his fiancée being abducted by Lu Yuan. Zhu Zhuqing, do you feel the same way? Looking at the backs of the two of them, they seemed to be a perfect match. However, Dai Mubai was filled with unwillingness. Zhu Zhuqing stopped in her tracks. Lu Yuan is the person I've set my mind on. His words are my thoughts. Dai Mubai, we have nothing to do with each other anymore. Don't pester me anymore. We're already strangers. Zhu Zhuqing's voice was soft, but firm. These were her true thoughts. You have to know that if you leave with him, the royal family won't let this matter rest. Dai Mubai said. His tone carried a tinge of threat. The Douluo royal family is nothing. It's fine if they don't find trouble with me. If they dare to, they can't blame me for taking Dai Tianfeng's head off. Lu Yuan's voice was calm, but there was a tinge of disdain in his voice. Indeed, Lu Yuan was still far from being able to fight the entire Xianra Empire. However, he could turn the Douluo royal family into a river of blood with a wave of his hand. If he was angered, he could get Long Xiaoyao to take Dai Tianfeng's head. Who could stop Long Xiaoyao? You are really arrogant. Dai Mubai's eyes were spitting fire. Lu Yuan really didn't care about the Douluo royal family at all. If you're still barking here, I'll take your head first. A prince in trouble isn't worth much. Furthermore, they won't find trouble with Zhu Qing if you're dead. Lu Yuan turned around. There was a tinge of killing intent in his eyes. He and Dai Mubai were like fire and water. They were destined to be enemies. If he was forced into a corner, he would really kill Dai Mubai before killing Tang San. At most, it would be less fun in the future. He was the chess player in this game. He had the final say on when to kill. He was just playing house with them now. It would be over when he got tired of them. Dai Mubai's hair stood on end when he saw the killing intent in Lu Yuan's eyes. Lu Yuan really wanted to kill him. He wasn't joking. His killing intent made Dai Mubai's heart tremble. If I kill you, I'm sure your useless brother will thank me. Lu Yuan smiled. His handsome face was like the smile of a demon in Dai Mubai's eyes. Let's go, Zhu Qing. Lu Yuan grabbed Zhu Zhuqing's hand and turned to leave. Daimubai. In his eyes, Tang San was nothing more than a piece of trash. There was no point in staying in Shrek Academy after he gave Tang San a huge gift. He could consider changing the map. Chapter 259. He strolled around Soto City with Zhu Zhuqing. Lu Yuan, you said you wanted to kill Dai Mubai. Is that true? Zhu Zhuqing asked doubtfully as she held Lu Yuan's hand. What do you think? Lu Yuan smiled as he looked at Zhu Zhuqing. I'm not sure, but your gaze just now was really scary. That killing intent was too obvious. I thought you really wanted to kill him. Zhu Zhuqing said. If I really wanted to kill him just now, would you have stopped me? Lu Yuan looked at Zhu Zhuqing with a serious look in his eyes. I wouldn't. Zhu Zhuqing shook her head and said, no matter what you do, I'll be by your side and support you, even if you want to go against the whole world. Zhu Zhuqing stared at Lu Yuan. It was Lu Yuan who gave her hope and care that she never had before. Since she had already chosen Lu Yuan, she was willing to face it with Lu Yuan no matter if it was good or bad. Good Zhuqing. Lu Yuan was touched. He hugged Zhu Zhuqing in his arms and kissed her forehead in public. Zhuqing, I'll never let you down in this life. Zhu Zhuqing nodded her head and dove into Lu Yuan's arms. After strolling around Soto City with Zhu Zhuqing for a long time, he was a little tired. It was noon now. Lu Yuan found a relatively high-end restaurant and walked in. What do you want to eat? Lu Yuan asked Zhu Zhuqing, who was beside him. Fish. Zhu Zhuqing hesitated for a moment and said, I knew it. You greedy little cat. Lu Yuan tapped Zhu Zhuqing's nose lightly. He wasn't surprised by her answer. After all, Zhu Zhuqing loved to eat fish the most. She would never get sick of it. Then let's see if there's any delicious fish here. He led Zhu Zhuqing directly to a seat and sat down. Immediately, a waiter took the initiative to come forward. He had to admit that the service of this restaurant was quite good. Zhuqing, you order. Lu Yuan took the menu from the waiter and handed it to Zhu Zhuqing. Yes. Zhu Zhuqing was just about to take the menu when her eyes were suddenly attracted by something. She looked in the direction of the lower right corner and said, Lu Yuan, look. Lu Yuan didn't turn around and said, I saw it when I came in. Isn't she running? How can he finish 20 laps so quickly? Zhu Zhuqing's face was filled with doubt. Is there even a need to think about it? She must have slacked off halfway. She's the young miss of the Seven Treasures glazed sect, after all. It's normal, Lu Yuan said. You seem to be very familiar with her. Zhu Zhuqing looked at Lu Yuan inquisitively. No, I've only seen him a few times. Really? Zhu Zhuqing didn't believe it. Why? Do you still suspect that I'm lying? Lu Yuan smiled and pinched Zhu Zhuqing's pretty face. Zhu Zhuqing's face was a little red when Lu Yuan pinched her pretty face. There was also a waiter next to them. This, and this. Finally, a grilled fish. That's it. Lu Yuan casually ordered a few dishes, handed the menu to the waiter, and sent him away. He also knew that with someone watching, Zhu Zhuqing's shy temperament would be a little uncomfortable. Watching the waiter walk away, Zhu Zhuqing said, I'm not suspecting that you're lying, but I think this Ning Rongrong likes you a little. Yesterday, when you held my hand and came in, she was full of hostility towards me. You may not have noticed it, but I sensed it clearly. So, do you have any explanation for this? Zhu Zhuqing held her cheek with her hand and looked at Lu Yuan with a questioning gaze. Explain what? Even if she likes me, what does it have to do with me? Lu Yuan said softly, I'm not interested in her. She's not as good as you. As he spoke, Lu Yuan's gaze slowly moved down and swept across Zhu Zhuqing's body. Her perky and full figure really made Lu Yuan reluctant to look away. What are you looking at? Zhu Zhuqing's pretty face instantly turned red. She grabbed Lu Yuan's soft waist. Pervert, I'm looking at you. As expected of my Zhuqing, you're really big. Lu Yuan giggled. You're still talking. Zhu Zhuqing's pretty face was as red as an apple. She pinched Lu Yuan's soft waist and fiercely twisted it, making Lu Yuan grimace. All right. Zhu Zhuqing seemed to have suddenly thought of something. You didn't open your polychoria just now, did you? Zhu Zhuqing was suddenly shocked. She looked at Lu Yuan with a fierce gaze. What are you thinking? Am I the kind of person who uses polychoria to peek? Lu Yuan casually flicked Zhu Zhuqing's finger. The latter immediately cried out and looked at Lu Yuan with some grievance. Lu Yuan gently lowered his head, moved closer to Zhu Zhuqing's ear, and said, "Even if I want to look, I'll do it openly. Tonight, I'll go to your place to sleep. I want to see how much you've grown." Hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing's delicate body suddenly trembled. She looked at Lu Yuan's eyes with a bit of shyness and also a bit of expectation. It seemed that Lu Yuan really hadn't hugged her to sleep for a long time. When she was in the ruins of life, especially when she was injured, she almost fell asleep in Lu Yuan's embrace every night. That feeling was exceptionally reassuring. It really made Zhu Zhuqing unconsciously miss it. Therefore, when she heard Lu Yuan's words, she actually didn't refute. Looking at Zhu Zhuqing's appearance, Lu Yuan suddenly laughed. "Little kitty, can't I deal with you?" "Sir, your dishes are here." The two were teasing each other when the waiter began to serve the dishes. Coincidentally, Ning Rongrong, who had been sitting with her back to them, suddenly turned her head and saw Lu Yuan and Zhu Zhuqing. "Lu Yuan, you're also eating here?" Seeing Lu Yuan, Ning Rongrong's eyes were filled with surprise. As for Zhu Zhuqing, she was automatically ignored by her. I came out to shop with Zhu Qing and eat something on the way." Looking at the happy Ning Rongrong, Lu Yuan's eyes were indifferent. He knows that Ning Rongrong likes him, but he has carried too many emotional debts. Chihiro Snow, Hulina, and Zhu Zhuqing in front of him, not to mention Gu Yuna. He has to admit that he likes Gu Yuna a little. Therefore, he really doesn't want to provoke other girls now. "Oh," listening to Lu Yuan's words, Ning Rongrong softly said, "Oh." Her face was flat, but it was hard to tell whether she was happy or angry. In front of Lu Yuan, Ning Rongrong seemed to be better at hiding her emotions. "Aren't you going to run 20 laps? Are you done? Or are you lazy halfway?" Lu Yuan looked at Ning Rongrong and decisively changed the topic. Sure enough, when she heard Lu Yuan's words, Ning Rongrong's face stiffened. "Running is too tiring. I'm really hungry and can't stand it, but I will run after eating." Ning Rongrong quickly explained, as if she was afraid that Lu Yuan would misunderstand that she likes to be lazy. Chapter 260. Seeing Ning Rongrong's anxious expression, Lu Yuan smiled and said, "You don't have to explain to me. What you do is your own business." Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Ning Rongrong was a little disappointed. He really didn't seem to care about her at all. But suddenly, Lu Yuan's tone changed. "But what?" Ning Rongrong raised her head and looked at Lu Yuan. Her eyes were sparkling. "If you really want to achieve some transformation, I think you still have to have a firm will. If you continue to do things half-heartedly, you're destined to not achieve much." Lu Yuan's tone was calm. Looking at Ning Rongrong's appearance, he couldn't help but remind her. Her temper might not change much, but her mentality was a big problem. If she only knew how to play tricks and slack off, no matter how talented she was destined to not achieve much. Ning Rongrong's talent wasn't bad. She was just a little playful. If she could put all her effort into cultivation, her soul power would be comparable to Tang San's. She was the little princess of the 7 Treasures glazed sect, and she never lacked resources. Compared to Tang San, she was much better. Tang San could reach rank 29 without any resources, so there was no reason why she couldn't. Since you're going down the mountain, don't waste this rare opportunity. You're going to take over the 7 Treasures glazed sect in the future. You have the responsibility of a sect on your shoulders. Think about it carefully. I'm sure Uncle Ning will be happy to see you change." Lu Yuan said softly. Lu Yuan, Ning Rongrong looked at Lu Yuan and didn't know what to say. She had never thought about these things before. Because of the sword Daw, bone Daw, and Ning Fengji's love, Ning Rongrong gradually developed a Sunder personality. The 7 Treasures glazed sect was also one of the 3 upper sections. It had a high status. In such an environment, there wasn't much pressure. Furthermore, her talent was good, so it was normal that she didn't like to cultivate. However, for the sake of their friendship, Lu Yuan naturally wouldn't mind helping her if there was a chance to change her bad habits. After all, she didn't have any enmity with Lu Yuan. Although Ning Rongrong had a bad temper, she wasn't a bad person. Instead, she was a little naive. She was spoiled, so she might be a little rude and unreasonable. Go, do what you have to do. Don't let down your reputation as the little witch of the 7 treasures glazed sect. It's just 20 laps. How can it be hard for you? As Lu Yuan spoke, he gave Ning Rongrong a rare, gentle smile. All right. Looking at Lu Yuan's smile, Ning Rongrong's heart seemed to be touched. She clenched her fists and said, I'll run now. I won't let you down. As she spoke, she quickly walked out of the restaurant with small steps. It seemed that she was going to complete the task of 20 laps that she had not completed. Looking at Ning Rongrong's back disappearing in the restaurant, Zhu Zhuqing looked at Lu Yuan with a strange look. Why are you looking at me with that look? Looking at Zhu Zhuqing's appearance, Lu Yuan asked in confusion. Oh, your words are really useful. You just said a few words, and she went to run obediently. Zhu Zhuqing's tone was flat, and there was no trace of joy or anger. You're thinking too much again. Lu Yuan rolled his eyes. When Zhu Zhuqing opened her mouth, he knew what she meant. Thinking too much? I didn't think too much. She said that she wouldn't let you down. Zhu Zhuqing's tone had a hint of strangeness. That's what she said. What does it have to do with me? I'm just saying a few words on account of my good relationship with her father and the fact that I'm acquainted with her. After all, she's quite talented and can't be wasted like this. Otherwise, it would be a pity. I don't mean anything else, Lu Yuan said. Who knows? Zhu Zhuqing wrinkled her nose and stared at Lu Yuan. Oh, you're still angry. Lu Yuan hugged Zhu Zhuqing's waist, lowered his head, and directly sealed Zhu Zhuqing's red lips. Suddenly, Zhu Zhuqing let out a whimper. Without much struggle, she closed her eyes and let Lu Yuan do whatever he wanted. Gently moving his lips away from Zhu Zhuqing's red lips, Lu Yuan looked at Zhu Zhuqing's slightly blurred little eyes and nodded with satisfaction. Arrogant little kitten, can I teach you a lesson? Zhu Zhuqing lay in Lu Yuan's arms and listened to Lu Yuan's heartbeat. She said softly, Lu Yuan, don't forget what you promised me and Hulina. You can't go back on your words. Lu Yuan nodded gently. I said that if there were no irresistible factors, there would only be the 3 of you in this life. Then you really only have the 3 of us now? Zhu Zhuqing asked. I really only have the 3 of you now, Lu Yuan said, and secretly added a sentence in his heart. I'm not wrong. Guyena is not a human, so she can't be counted. And that's good. Zhu Zhuqing gently blinked her beautiful eyes. She was quite satisfied with Lu Yuan's answer. After all, she also didn't want another person to share Lu Yuan's love with her. Originally, she was the last one to come, so she definitely didn't get the most love from Lu Yuan. If another person came, then she would get even less love. Lu Yuan kissed Zhu Zhuqing's lips again. Suddenly, as if thinking of something, he asked, Did that girl pay when she left? I'm not sure, but I don't think so. Here, it seems that you pay after you finish eating. Zhu Zhuqing pondered for a moment and said, So I have to pay for her? Lu Yuan helplessly shook his head. Can't this girl pay the bill before leaving? Do you still lack this money? Zhu Zhuqing looked at Lu Yuan with some amusement. It's not a matter of lack of money. I just feel like I'm a sucker for no reason. Forget it. It's just a small matter. Our dishes should be coming soon. Eat more later. Tonight, there may be a battle waiting for you. Lu Yuan laughed. Battle? What battle? Zhu Zhuqing looked at Lu Yuan with some curiosity. You'll know when the time comes. Lu Yuan didn't directly explain. Instead, he smiled faintly. This aroused Zhu Zhuqing's curiosity, still keeping me in suspense. Zhu Zhuqing's beautiful eyes looked at Lu Yuan with rebuke. However, since Lu Yuan didn't say, she was too lazy to ask. But in her heart, there was some anticipation. The two of them didn't talk for long before the waiter started to serve the dishes. Seeing this, Zhu Zhuqing quickly crawled out from Lu Yuan's embrace. After chatting and laughing for a meal, Lu Yuan pulled Zhu Zhuqing to walk around Soto City. He bought some clothes, jewelry, and so on for Zhu Zhuqing. All of them were expensive and good. For a moment, he really spent money like water. However, Lu Yuan didn't mind. Who asked him to be rich? He was rich and willful. When the night was getting late, the two of them returned to the academy. Chapter 261. Night fell, and Flinder gathered everyone in the plaza. Ning Rongrong and Oscar were there too. Judging from her appearance, she should have finished 20 laps. Ning Rongrong flashed a sweet smile at Lu Yuan when she saw him. Oscar's eyes almost popped out of their sockets when he saw her. However, he sighed and shook his head. No matter how good this lady was, he had no chance with her. Lu Yuan nodded at Ning Rongrong and pulled Zhu Zhuqing to one side. Flinder saw everyone and nodded. He said, "Everyone is here. Very good. We will complete our test in Soto City tonight. I will lead the way, and all of you follow me closely." As Flinder spoke, he led the way. Lu Yuan and the rest followed behind Flinder. Lu Yuan and Zhu Zhuqing were in a row, and they followed closely behind Flinder. Following behind them were Ma Hongjun and Xiao Wu, followed by Ning Rongrong and Oscar. Dai Mubai walked alone at the back. Perhaps Lu Yuan's murderous intent had frightened Dai Mubai, and he didn't dare to get too close to Lu Yuan now. Lu Yuan's soul power was the highest among all the students. If he unleashed his full strength, he wouldn't be much slower than Flinder. However, he maintained the same speed as Zhu Zhuqing. Zhu Zhuqing was also rank 37, and her soul power was the same as Dai Mubai's. She was also an agility-type soul master, and her speed was second only to Lu Yuan. She was naturally much faster than Ma Hongjun and the rest. Ma Hongjun and Xiao Wu's soul power was similar, and they were both ranked 28 or 29. They were also battle soul masters, so they were faster than Ning Rongrong and Oscar. As auxiliary-type soul masters, Oscar and Ning Rongrong were undoubtedly the slowest, and it was normal for them to fall behind. A simple run was actually a simple division of everyone's abilities. Shrek Academy was only 10 kilometers away from Soto City. For these soul masters who were at least ranked 27, using their soul power for such a short distance wasn't considered a huge drain. Even auxiliary-type soul masters, such as Ning Rongrong and Oscar, could withstand it. Soon, they arrived at Soto City and found a tea stall to sit down. Lu Yuan naturally wouldn't let Flanders order any inferior tea leaves. He wasn't used to drinking such things. After ordering some better tea, everyone sat down. "Director, are we having our classes here today?" Oscar asked. "It's not here, it's opposite." Flinder pointed at the tall building opposite them, which was the Great Soul Arena of Soto City. "What is this place?" Xiao Wu had never seen the Great Fighting Soul Arena, so she was a little curious for a moment. "This is the Great Soul Arena of Soto City, a place specially used for soul masters to fight." Before Flinder could speak, Lu Yuan took a sip of tea and said softly, "Umph." Seeing that it was Lu Yuan who spoke, Xiao Wu snorted and turned her head away. Lu Yuan didn't bother to look at her and continued, "If I'm not mistaken, the dean means that all soul warriors will experience a competition in the Great Soul Arena tonight." "You're right, kid." "Yes, that's what I mean," Flinder said. "But isn't it a bit early?" Dai Mubai, who had been silent, said, "This is what they will experience sooner or later. You have to remember that you are not ordinary people. You are monsters. Monsters naturally have to be taught like monsters." Flinder said faintly. Dean Flinder is right. Actual combat is the only essence of a soul warrior. In the Great Soul Arena, you will encounter all kinds of soul warriors. Their fighting methods are varied, which can allow you to quickly accumulate combat experience and hone your combat skills. If you want to become stronger quickly, the Great Soul Arena is actually a good place to hone your strength. Looking at everyone calmly, Lu Yuan said faintly, "So when you said that I will have a battle tonight, You were referring to the Great Soul Arena? Zhu Zhuqing remembered Lu Yuan's words and asked softly. Well, since Dean Flinders said that we will gather at night for a special class, then it can only be the Great Soul Arena. Lu Yuan said with a slight smile. Oh, hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing nodded. Well, we have rested enough. Let's go. Flinder put down his teacup and took the lead to the Great Soul Arena. Lu Yuan and others followed behind Flinder. Lu Yuan, are you the only soul warriors participating in the battle today? We auxiliary-type soul masters shouldn't need it, right? While walking, Ning Rongrong came to Lu Yuan's side and asked softly, if it's a one-on-one, there shouldn't be a need, but if it's a two-on-two, you auxiliary-type soul masters should also participate. You can't not accumulate combat experience just because you are auxiliary-type soul masters, right? Lu Yuan said, there's a two-on-two battle? Ning Rongrong blinked and asked. She knew about the Great Soul Arena, but as an auxiliary-type soul master, she had never been there, so she didn't know some of the rules of the Great Soul Arena. Of course, the ordinary forms of soul fighting in the Great Soul Arena are mainly divided into three types, namely one-on-one, two-on-two, and group battles. You have to participate in one-on-one or two-on-two, but in two-on-two, it's best to have a team. Lu Yuan said, then let's form a team? Ning Rongrong said softly. Sorry, he will form a team with me. Zhu Zhuqing came over from nowhere and wrapped her right hand around Lu Yuan's left arm. This girl, Lu Yuan, was a little amused in his heart. He had explained it to her during the day, but this girl was still jealous. But it was good to be jealous. At least it showed that this girl cared about him. Seeing Zhu Zhuqing's action, Ning Rongrong's pretty face froze slightly. She looked at Lu Yuan with a touch of loss in her eyes. I won't form a team with you. My current level is a little high. You won't have any experience with me, but you can form a team with Ning Rongrong. With the strength of your 9 lives cat martial soul and the assistance of the 7 treasures glazed pagoda, your chances of winning should be quite high. Looking at Zhu Zhuqing, Lu Yuan said, form a team with her? Zhu Zhuqing glanced at Ning Rongrong, then looked at Lu Yuan with some doubt. He knew that there was a little friction between her and Ning Rongrong. So why did he arrange for them to form a team? Was it really because he said that the chances of winning would be higher? Otherwise, if you don't form a team with her, who else do you want to form a team with? Ning Rongrong is your best choice. Lu Yuan looked at Zhu Zhuqing with a smile, then turned to Ning Rongrong and said, similarly, Zhuqing is also a good partner for you. She is very strong, almost unrivaled in the Soul Elder realm. With your assistance ability, it won't be a problem for you to fight 1 against 2. The chances of winning are still quite high. What do you think? Good. Then I'll form a team with her. Ning Rongrong's beautiful eyes flickered slightly, and she said, Chapter 262. As they walked, Lu Yuan introduced the rules of the Great Soul Arena to several people. Let's go, Zhuqing. I'll take you to register your badge. This thing is very important. Only with this can you participate in the soul battle. Holding Zhu Zhuqing's hand, Lu Yuan walked to the front desk. Registration of soul battle, sir? Because Lu Yuan was not wearing a mask now, the receptionist did not recognize him. Lu Yuan was the legend of the Great Soul Arena, Emperor Dragon. And because Lu Yuan was too handsome now, the receptionist only had eyes for Lu Yuan, but completely ignored Zhu Zhuqing beside Lu Yuan. Not me, it's her. Lu Yuan pointed to Zhu Zhuqing beside him. Oh, it's this young lady, the waiter said quickly. Please think about your title, young lady. Let's call it Civet. Zhu Zhuqing said softly. Okay. Young lady, what's your level? The waiter asked. Level 37. There was a trace of astonishment on the attendant's face. Zhu Zhuqing's appearance was very well developed, but there was still a trace of immaturity on her small face. She was definitely not older than 14 years old. To have a rank 37 soul force at such a young age, she was simply an exceptional genius. Contestant Civet, this is your soul battle badge. Please keep it. The waiter's expression became more respectful. Such a genius was far from being comparable to an ordinary soul elder. Maybe there was a big force behind her. For the experienced waiter, she had already seen this a lot. Your Great Soul Arena is an area you can go there and wait for a while. After registering a one-on-one battle for Zhu Zhuqing, the waiter's voice sounded. Let's go, Zhuqing. Lu Yuan smiled slightly. Zhu Zhuqing followed beside Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan, where is Area A? Zhu Zhuqing was not familiar with this place, so she could only ask Lu Yuan next to her. This is Area A. Wait for a while. It should be your turn soon. Holding Zhu Zhuqing's small hand, Lu Yuan smiled. Let's go. I'll take you somewhere. Where is it? Zhu Zhuqing was curious. I'll take you to see what our honorable dean is doing. Lu Yuan chuckled softly. With his understanding of Flinder, this guy must be betting again. After all, in the Great Soul Arena, as long as one's eyesight was sharp, it was actually quite easy to make money. Zhu Zhuqing's voice sounded. What about Ning Rongrong? She hasn't registered her soul yet. Zhu Zhuqing suddenly asked. Yes, I forgot about her. Lu Yuan patted his head. He was so focused on Zhu Zhuqing that he forgot about Ning Rongrong. When he came in just now, he only cared about pulling Zhu Zhuqing. There were a lot of people, so he forgot about Ning Rongrong. Forget it. Let's go back and find her. Lu Yuan said with a sigh. Zhu Zhuqing nodded. It was not easy to find Ning Rongrong. The two of them formed a team called Qingrong. They were considered to be partners. In fact, this combination was quite good. It was much better to be partners with two girls than with those male students. After registering, the three of them returned to the lounge in Area. Coincidentally, Shrek participants tonight were all in Area. Boss Yuan, you guys are back? Seeing Lu Yuan, Ma Hongjun immediately stood up and greeted him. Oscar also smiled and nodded at Lu Yuan. Xiao Wu, who was sitting at the side, snorted at Lu Yuan. Dai Mu Bai, on the other hand, did not greet Lu Yuan, nor did he do anything provocative. He just pretended not to see the three of them. Lu Yuan naturally did not care about Dai Mu Bai and Xiao Wu's attitude. He nodded at Oscar and Ma Hongjun plainly and asked, Are you two not going to participate in the soul battle tonight? No, I'm too lazy to move today. Ma Hongjun stretched, and a circle of fat was revealed on his round belly. Lu Yuan shook his head helplessly. You're already so fat, yet you're still so lazy. Serves you right for getting fatter. Boss Yuan, you're not going to play tonight? Ma Hongjun knew about Lu Yuan's battle record. It was truly terrifying. Challenging someone a higher rank was like drinking water. Anyway, it was quite perverted. Ma Hongjun was ashamed of his inferiority. Of course, since I'm here, I naturally have to fight before going back. Usually, other than when I fight with Teacher Zhao, there are very few opportunities to go all out like this, Lu Yuan said. Haha, then we'll wait to see Boss Yuan's elegance. Ma Hongjun chuckled. Lu Yuan smiled and pulled Zhu Zhuqing to sit on the sofa at the side. After the two of them sat down, Ning Rongrong sat quietly on the other side of Lu Yuan. Seeing Ning Rongrong's actions, Zhu Zhuqing's eyes flashed, but she did not do anything in the end. It seems like it should be your turn soon, Zhuqing. Lu Yuan said after looking at time. Zhu Zhuqing responded softly. Let me see how powerful the Nine Lives Lynx's superb martial soul is later. I'm quite curious about your third soul skill. Lu Yuan chuckled softly. I won't let you down. There was a hint of confidence in Zhu Zhuqing's eyes. She was no longer the Zhu Zhuqing of the past. Her improvement would definitely surprise Lu Yuan. When she was fighting with Lu Yuan the other day, Lu Yuan was furious because Tang San suddenly used a hidden weapon. He unleashed his true strength and casually beat Tang San up. Zhu Zhuqing actually did not unleash much of her strength before the battle ended. This time, Zhu Zhuqing would really show the results of her cultivation over the past 2 years. To be honest, Lu Yuan was actually quite curious. Just as the two of them were talking, the voice from the broadcast suddenly sounded. Next round, contestant Zhu Zhuqing versus contestant Dai Mu Bai. Both contestants, please come on stage. Everyone was shocked when they heard the voice from the broadcast. What a coincidence! Dai Mubai was stunned at first. Then, a hint of viciousness that no one noticed flashed through his eyes. However, it disappeared in a flash. However, Lu Yuan frowned. Although the viciousness in Dai Mubai's eyes disappeared very quickly, and others might not notice it, how could he hide it from him? There was a hint of coldness in his eyes. It seems like Dai Mubai hasn't learned his lesson. With a cold glint in his eyes, Lu Yuan leaned over and whispered into Zhu Zhuqing's ear, "Zhuqing, use all your strength later. Don't hold back." "What's wrong, Lu Yuan?" Zhu Zhuqing asked doubtfully. There's a hint of viciousness in Dai Mubai's eyes. "I suspect that he's taking the opportunity to harm you, so you mustn't be soft-hearted," Lu Yuan said. Zhu Zhuqing nodded when she heard that. She trusted Lu Yuan 100%. Since Lu Yuan said that, he must have his reasons. Chapter 263. In the soul dueling arena, Zhu Zhuqing and Dai Mubai appeared above the ring. Dai Mubai's eyes flashed fiercely as he looked at Zhu Zhuqing. He couldn't beat Lu Yuan, but he wanted to teach Zhu Zhuqing a lesson today to vent his anger. He wanted to see what kind of expression Lu Yuan would have when he saw Zhu Zhuqing being brutally abused by him outside the ring, yet unable to help. Dai Mubai's heart was already filled with resentment and unwillingness. It was still all right when Lu Yuan was suppressing him. Now that Lu Yuan wasn't around, and only he and Zhu Zhuqing were in the ring, the resentment and anger that arose from the humiliation couldn't be controlled and exploded. He didn't even consider that even if he severely injured Zhu Zhuqing, Lu Yuan would take revenge on him. Or it could be said that he didn't consider these things at all when he was engulfed in anger. Or even if he expected this situation, the anger in his heart made him a little crazy. Even if he was going to be bullied by Lu Yuan later, he wanted to make Lu Yuan suffer first. However, what he didn't know was that Zhu Zhuqing's soul power had already reached rank 37. Coupled with the 9 Lives Lynx's superb martial soul, Dai Mubai's white tiger was no match for Zhu Zhuqing. Otherwise, with Lu Yuan's character, why would he put Zhu Zhuqing in danger? He wasn't Tang San in the original work. He knew that Xiao Wu's identity might be exposed, but he still brought Xiao Wu to Martial Soul City and said that it was for Shrek's glory. He was just coveting the few soul bones in the Martial Soul Palace. He just wanted to take revenge. He lacked strength and wanted to obtain soul bones to increase his strength. He said it in a dignified manner, but no one knew what he was thinking. Lu Yuan, on the other hand, was different from him. He would not allow his women to be in any kind of danger. If anyone dared to threaten them, he would eliminate them with thunderous means. Why did Lu Yuan keep targeting Tang San? It was because Tang San's existence was a hidden danger to the Martial Soul Palace. He killed BB Don in the original work, harmed Chihiro Snow and Hu Lina, and schemed against Wang Qiuer. It was also because of this that Lu Yuan kept targeting him. Otherwise, so what if Tang San was a demon who killed people without batting an eyelid? It had nothing to do with Lu Yuan. At most, he would take care of it when he saw it. He wouldn't be like this. Wasn't it just to avenge Chihiro Snow and the rest? Otherwise, with Lu Yuan's character, wouldn't it be better for him to cultivate alone and travel with the people he liked? It was a pity that there were too many responsibilities and burdens on Lu Yuan's shoulders. He had no choice but to choose his current path. However, even though he believed in Zhu Zhuqing's strength, Lu Yuan still reminded Zhu Zhuqing to give it her all. She couldn't be soft-hearted. After all, although Zhu Zhuqing looked cold, she was still as pure and kind as before. Lu Yuan was worried that she would be soft-hearted and give Dai Mubai the opportunity to hurt her. Lu Yuan wouldn't allow that to happen. However, regardless of whether Dai Mubai won or lost, Lu Yuan wouldn't let him off so easily. He could allow others to provoke him or even plot against him. However, if anyone dared to touch the people close to him, he would let them know what cruelty was. Zhu Zhuqing felt a chill in her heart when she saw the vicious look in Dai Mubai's eyes. She knew that Lu Yuan was right. Dai Mubai didn't have pure intentions. Thinking of this, Zhu Zhuqing's eyes flashed with sharpness. Although she was kind-hearted, after 2 years of experience in the mainland, she also knew what a sinister person's heart was. Towards those who wanted to harm her, Zhu Zhuqing would also let go of her kindness. After all, being kind to your enemies was being cruel to yourself. Let the match begin, the host announced. Zhu Zhuqing, I'll show you the power of the White Tiger martial soul today. It's not something your netherworld civet can compare to. Dai Mubai roared. The White Tiger martial soul was instantly attached to his body. His body grew by almost 20 centimeters. He stretched out his hands, which were wrapped in white fur. A pair of sharp tiger claws flashed with a cold light. Yellow, and purple soul rings rippled beneath Dai Mubai's body. Netherworld civet, that's already a thing of the past. There was a trace of disdain in Zhu Zhuqing's cold voice. In an instant, black light surged and a huge shadow of a black cat appeared behind Zhu Zhuqing. Its ears turned into cat ears, and its hands turned into sharp claws, flickering with a dark cold light. Meow! A loud meow rang out, and the black cat opened its clear blue eyes. 3 yellow, and purple soul rings rose from Zhu Zhuqing's body, and a powerful pressure pressed down on Dai Mubai from the black cat. What martial soul is this? It's not a netherworld civet at all. Dai Mubai's voice was filled with shock. His White Tiger martial soul was actually suppressed by Zhu Zhuqing's black cat martial soul. The pressure made Dai Mubai's heart tremble. Ever since he had become a soul master, he had been oppressed by someone else's aura before. However, he had never been oppressed by anyone else other than Lu Yuan. After all, his White Tiger martial soul was one of the top martial souls in the world. It was much stronger than Zhu Zhuqing's netherworld civet martial soul. However, Zhu Zhuqing's black cat martial soul suppressed his White Tiger martial soul today. How is this possible? Of course, it's not a netherworld civet. It's a superb martial soul, the 9 lives lynx. Zhu Zhuqing's cold voice rang out. 9 lives lynx? What martial soul is this? I've never heard of it. Dai Mubai didn't believe it. He had never heard of the Zhu family's netherworld civet evolving into a 9 lives lynx martial soul. Of course you haven't heard of it. There are millions of martial souls in this world. How many do you know? Zhu Zhuqing said coldly. Very few people in this world know about the 9 lives lynx martial soul. Dai Mubai, you only know how to flirt. When have you studied martial souls? Isn't it normal that you don't know? You're just a frog at the bottom of a well. How dare you say that the world is as big as a fight? Zhu Zhuqing looked at Dai Mubai with disdain. Humans couldn't see the difference without comparison. Compared to Lu Yuan, Dai Mubai was a far cry from him in terms of looks, strength, temperament, character, and status. Even in terms of the most basic intelligence and knowledge, Lu Yuan was miles ahead of Dai Mubai. Take this. Zhu Zhuqing snorted coldly. Her body suddenly turned into a shadow and disappeared. At the same time, 3 light scratches appeared on the right side of Dai Mubai's face. Fresh blood seeped out. Don't hit people in the face. Sorry, but hit people in the face. Especially Dai Mubai, who only knew how to use his face to deceive women everywhere. He needed to be beaten even more. Chapter 264. Roar. Dai Mubai's face started to bleed after Zhu Zhuqing scratched it. Dai Mubai felt a burning pain on his face. He lifted his hand to touch it and realized that his hand was covered in blood. He was enraged and roared into the sky. Zhu Zhuqing, I want you dead. Dai Mubai roared. As a somewhat narcissistic playboy, Dai Mubai only cared about 2 things. One was his lifeblood, and the other was his face. He relied on his face to make a living, but Zhu Zhuqing had disfigured him. How could Dai Mubai not be furious? Let's see if you have the ability to do so. Zhu Zhuqing's figure appeared and scratched Dai Mubai's face again. Zhu Zhuqing's martial soul was a superb martial soul, the 9 lives lynx. It was the strongest martial soul in the cat clan. It was the strongest martial soul in the cat clan. It was the strongest martial soul in the cat clan. It was the strongest martial soul in the cat clan. It was the strongest martial soul in the cat clan. It was the strongest martial soul in the cat clan. It was the strongest martial soul in the cat clan. It was the strongest martial soul in the cat clan. It was the strongest martial soul in the cat clan. It was the strongest martial soul in the cat clan. It was the strongest martial soul in the cat clan. It was the strongest martial soul in the cat clan. It was the strongest martial soul in the cat clan. It was the strongest martial soul in the cat clan. It was the strongest martial soul in the cat clan. It was the strongest martial soul in the cat clan. It was the strongest martial soul in the cat clan. It was the strongest martial soul in the cat clan. It was the strongest martial soul in the cat clan. It was the strongest martial and also one of the best agility-type martial souls. Even though it wasn't considered extreme speed, it wasn't far off. Perhaps it wasn't the fastest, but it was definitely the best in terms of reaction time. With Zhu Zhuqing's rank 37 soul power and the 9 lives links as support, even a rank 40 soul ancestor might not be able to match her speed. What's more, Dai Mubai couldn't even see Zhu Zhuqing's figure. His heterochromatic eye was just a decoration. It wasn't like Lu Yuan's polychoria, which contained boundless divine power. No matter how fast one was, they were as slow as a tortoise in his eyes. If the Golden Dragon war body's immunity to all control-type skills, and the Golden Dragon armor's immunity to negative effects were the nemesis of control-type soul masters, then Lu Yuan's polychoria was the nemesis of all agility-type soul masters and spiritual-type soul masters. From his polychoria's point of view, even someone with extreme speed was as slow as a tortoise. Even the strongest spiritual-type soul master couldn't affect Lu Yuan at all. If his spiritual power wasn't enough, he would even suffer a backlash. Perhaps his spiritual power was above Lu Yuan's, but he couldn't use spiritual-type soul skills to affect Lu Yuan at all. This was because his polychoria was immune to most spiritual-type soul skills. Unless it was a pure spiritual attack, everything else was useless. However, if they were to compete in spiritual power, Lu Yuan still had the clear air divine seed and the vast sea cosmic shield in his mind. Needless to say, Lu Yuan's spiritual power was already very strong. It was extremely difficult to inflict damage to Lu Yuan's mental state. Zhu Zhuqing's cat paws landed on both sides of Dai Mubai's face. This time, it was very symmetrical. Dai Mubai's originally handsome face looked somewhat mournful as blood flowed out. She didn't know when, but Zhu Zhuqing had developed a dislike for this kind of handsome man who liked to go around seducing women. It was very likely that this thought came from Zhu Zhuqing's hidden dissatisfaction with Lu Yuan. Perhaps it was because Lu Yuan was very handsome, so it was easy for him to attract the attention of girls. Perhaps it was because Lu Yuan had her Chihiro Snow and Hulina. She was just one of his women. Although Zhu Zhuqing had always acted like she didn't care, how could she not care? No woman was willing to share a man with another woman. However, Zhu Zhuqing had no choice. She was the last one to join. In addition, Lu Yuan was indeed very good to her, so Zhu Zhuqing had always acted as if she was magnanimous and did not care about it. However, if she really didn't care, she wouldn't have asked Lu Yuan to promise her that it would only be the 3 of them. She also wouldn't have reminded Lu Yuan of his promise when Ning Rongrong tried to get close to Lu Yuan. Zhu Zhuqing loved Lu Yuan. She couldn't bear to blame Lu Yuan, even if Lu Yuan was a 3-timer. However, Zhu Zhuqing already loved Lu Yuan to the bone. In addition, Lu Yuan was also very good to her. He always thought of her well. Therefore, she silently accepted this. However, she was still unhappy. She was unhappy about the man's half-heartedness. She had never vented it out. Since she couldn't get angry at Lu Yuan, when Zhu Zhuqing found out that Dai Mubai was a big pervert, she vented her anger on Dai Mubai. It could be said that Dai Mubai unintentionally became Zhu Zhuqing's punching bag. It would be better if Dai Mubai didn't reveal that fierce look to Zhu Zhuqing. But now that Zhu Zhuqing noticed it, Zhu Zhuqing vented her anger on Dai Mubai without any scruples. Dai Mubai was a little unlucky. However, thinking about it carefully, he deserved it. Moreover, he had once abandoned Zhu Zhuqing and allowed her to fall into the abyss of despair. This enmity had to be avenged through Dai Mubai. First soul skill, White Tiger's Shield. Third soul skill, White Tiger's Vajra Transformation. Dai Mubai was infuriated, and he wanted to tear Zhu Zhuqing to shreds. He immediately unleashed his first and third soul skills. Dai Mubai's attributes rose by a large margin, and his aura became much more majestic. Die! Dai Mubai shouted. He leaped up, and his tiger claws clawed at Zhu Zhuqing. Too slow. Zhu Zhuqing's first soul ring lit up. First soul skill, Netherworld Stab. Her body turned into an afterimage and clawed at Dai Mubai. Zhu Zhuqing's sharp claws made contact with Dai Mubai's body. However, Only a few shallow scratches were left on Dai Mubai's body. His skin didn't even break. After all, Dai Mubai had used his White Tiger's shield and White Tiger's Vajra transformation. His body's defense had increased to a certain level. The 9 Lives Lynx was very strong. However, a mere 100-year soul skill wasn't enough to break through the defense of 2 soul skills. Dai Mubai slammed his claws down. His 2 soul skills didn't just increase his strength and defense. They could also increase his speed. This claw was much faster than the previous one. However, the 9 Lives Lynx's reflexes were the best in the world. Zhu Zhuqing twisted her body and dodged Dai Mubai's attack. She then clawed at Dai Mubai. Your claws can't break through my defense. Dai Mubai glared at Zhu Zhuqing with bloodshot eyes. To him, Zhu Zhuqing was even more detestable than Lu Yuan. This was because before she came, Lu Yuan didn't find trouble with him, even though he didn't have a good relationship with him. However, once Zhu Zhuqing came, Lu Yuan revealed killing intent towards him. From Dai Mubai's point of view, perhaps Lu Yuan and Zhu Zhuqing were together because Zhu Zhuqing seduced him. It had to be said that when a person's spirit suffered a huge blow or was in an extreme emotional state, their thoughts would always stray. It was easy to walk into a dead end. Chapter 265. Oh my God, this beating is too ruthless. Seeing Zhu Zhuqing give Dai Mubai a slap on both sides of his face without any hesitation, and 10 claw marks immediately covered Dai Mubai's face, causing blood to flow out. Ma Hongjun clicked his tongue and said, "Tisk, isn't this what you've always wanted to do?" Hearing Ma Hongjun's words, Lu Yuan smiled slightly and said, That's true. This Dai Mubai used his whore face to hook up with who knows how many little girls. Today, he ended up like this. It's really satisfying." Ma Hongjun laughed mischievously, taking pleasure in Dai Mubai's misfortune. In this year, Ma Hongjun didn't know how many girls had been snatched away by Dai Mubai, probably 7 or 8. Therefore, Ma Hongjun had been holding back his anger. This was because he didn't have the ability to take revenge. Now that he saw Dai Mubai's miserable appearance, how could he not be happy? Serves him right for bringing girls to a hotel room in broad daylight. Twins, you should cut off his manhood. Xiao Wu's angry voice sounded, although she had some hostility towards Lu Yuan because Lu Yuan injured Tang San. In fact, she hated Dai Mubai more and thought that Dai Mubai was a big pervert. As for why Xiao Wu knew about Dai Mubai, it was because this time, Xiao Wu and the others also met Dai Mubai at the Rose Hotel and fought with him. Seeing Dai Mubai bring the twins to a hotel room, Xiao Wu naturally couldn't stand it. It had to be said that this world really had some fixed development routes. As long as Lu Yuan didn't interfere, it would still run according to the original trajectory. However, Lu Yuan's interference had led to a completely different path from the original work. Perhaps this was the interference of the world's will, forcefully pulling everything back to the normal track. However, it was ineffective against Lu Yuan. Other than Lu Yuan being a transmigrator, it was also related to the clear air seed in Lu Yuan's body. The clear air seed was a divine seed that nurtured the power of rules. It controlled the rules of the heavenly realm and all the worlds below it. It could be said that it could be destroyed with a thought. Lu Yuan had obtained the clear air scripture for a long time, and the divine power of the clear air scripture had already penetrated deep into Lu Yuan's body. It could be said that the current Lu Yuan carried the power of the rules with him, but it was abnormally thin. This kind of power could not be discovered by any god, but the will of a world could feel it. Anything that Lu Yuan's clear air god seed's rule power changed, the world will couldn't change it because this rule power was above the world will. Unlike ordinary transmigrators, changing the plot was equivalent to going against the heavens. From a certain point of view, the world will was equivalent to the heavenly Tao. Of course, in terms of level, it was far from the level of the heavenly Tao, but the principle was the same. Transmigrators changing the storyline was equivalent to going against the heavenly Tao. Under the heavenly Tao, small things could be changed, but the overall situation could not be changed. Changing some small things, such as snatching Tang San's opportunity, would not cause any problems. This was because, as the son of Providence, Tang San would have other opportunities. But once they wanted to kill Tang San, which was also killing the son of Providence, it would cause the world will, which was equivalent to the heavenly Tao's strong resistance. It might even cause the world will to kill, and so on, and there would be great danger. But Lu Yuan was different. He had the clear air god seed, and his whole body emitted the rule power. This rule power was above the Douluo world's will, and he controlled the world will. This was equivalent to a transmigrator in a world controlled by the heavenly Tao. He had the power of the great Tao. The great Tao was above the heavenly Tao, and the heavenly Tao was under the jurisdiction of the great Tao. No matter how much trouble the transmigrator caused, there would not be any danger. So this was the same for Lu Yuan. No matter what Lu Yuan did, it was reasonable and in line with the development trend of the Douluo continent, and it would not cause the world will to resist. For example, if Lu Yuan wanted to kill Tang San, then the Douluo world would not have the slightest resistance. In short, it could be summarized in one sentence. If Tang San was the son of Providence of the Douluo continent, then Lu Yuan, who had the clear air god seed, was equivalent to the son of Providence of all the worlds under the control of the god realm, including the Douluo continent. His status was naturally higher than Tang San's by a lot. So whatever he changed, it was an established reality. Even if he killed Tang San, nothing would happen to him, because the Douluo continent was also a part of his clear air god seed's rule power. And even if he killed Tang San and caused the original trajectory to be interrupted, this was a normal change in the world's evolution in the eyes of the gods of the god realm, and it would not attract the attention of the god realm. This was the real terror of the clear air god seed. Although it did not display any strong offensive power, it had already eliminated the biggest hidden danger for Lu Yuan and gave Lu Yuan enough time to develop. Why was it so easy for Lu Yuan to get the recognition of others? Especially the Silver Dragon King, Gu Yuna, who was once an expert who could stand shoulder to shoulder with the Divine King. Why was it so easy for her to get along with Lu Yuan and even unknowingly fall in love with Lu Yuan? In fact, other than Lu Yuan's own attractiveness and bloodline, it might not be without the influence of the son of Providence of the world. This was why in many fantasy novels, the male protagonists could easily woo the female protagonists, and even many outstanding women would throw themselves at them. Wasn't it because there was a hand in the dark pushing them? Why was it that Lu Yuan's path was smooth sailing, and those who opposed him did not have a good ending, including Tang San, the protagonist of the original novel? This was because Lu Yuan was blessed by the fortune of the Douluo divine realm and all of the other worlds under its control. Unless there was a feud between them, all of the living beings of these worlds would feel a sense of closeness toward Lu Yuan. This was the huge power of the clear air god seed, and this power had already begun to show. It was just that Lu Yuan was still ignorant and thought that the clear air god seed only had those superficial effects. In fact, Lu Yuan had never comprehended the true power of the clear air god seed. However, in the end, luck was just luck. Although the current Lu Yuan did not attract the hostility of the world's will, it was only the world's will. Those who were strong were actually not affected much. The reason why Gu Yuna liked Lu Yuan, other than the influence of the clear air god seed's rule, was actually more because of Lu Yuan's personal charm. Among all the male soul masters in the Douluo continent, was there anyone more charming than Lu Yuan? The answer was naturally no. If the power of luck was so great that it could change a person's thoughts, Xiao wouldn't be hostile towards Lu Yuan because of Tang San's injury, and Dai Mubai wouldn't hate Lu Yuan to the bone. Therefore, there was definitely an influence, but the prerequisite was that that person had no hostility towards Lu Yuan. Hostility would be ineffective. After all, the clear air god seed was just a god seed, and Lu Yuan had not comprehended the power of rules to become a god. He was still not the god of rules. Right now, he was only a rank 46 soul ancestor. Chapter 266. In the arena, Zhu Zhuqing's figure flashed, and her sharp claws kept coming into contact with Dai Mubai's body, leaving wounds on his body. Even if a single claw attack couldn't break through Dai Mubai's defenses, a few claw attacks would be enough to injure Dai Mubai. With Zhu Zhuqing's speed, she could do this without being hit by Dai Mubai. It was said that soul masters could be countered by one another. For example, control-type soul masters countered assault-type soul masters. Defense-type soul masters countered assault-type soul masters, while assault-type soul masters countered agility-type soul masters. However, this was only under normal circumstances and not an absolute rule. Assault-type soul masters countered agility-type soul masters? That might not be the case. Haven't you heard that there's nothing that can't be overcome in martial arts? Speed is the only thing that can't be overcome. No matter what, speed was very important. When I'm faster than you, I'm the only one who can hit you, and you can't hit me. Agility-type soul masters were suppressed by assault-type soul masters purely because they weren't fast enough. To Dai Mubai, Zhu Zhuqing's speed was enough to suppress him. Roar, second soul skill, White Tiger's fierce light wave. Dai Mubai opened his mouth wide, and a white light wave was released from his mouth, which quickly shot towards Zhu Zhuqing. Zhu Zhuqing's figure flashed, and she dodged the White Tiger's fierce light wave. Dai Mubai turned around, and another light wave was formed in his mouth. It was as if it didn't cost money, and streaks of light waves were released from his mouth towards Zhu Zhuqing. Zhu Zhuqing's figure turned into an afterimage, and she relied on her unparalleled speed and reaction to completely dodge these light waves. In the arena, Dai Mubai stood in the center of the arena, and streaks of light waves swept across the arena. Zhu Zhuqing's figure was dodging and jumping around the arena. Although it seemed a little dangerous, Zhu Zhuqing managed to dodge every single light wave. Boss Yuan, the situation doesn't seem good. Sister-in-law Zhu Qing seems to be in danger, Ma Hongjun said softly. Hearing this, Oscar and Ning Rongrong couldn't help but nod their heads. It seemed like Zhu Zhuqing was at a disadvantage. On the other hand, Xiao Wu blinked. She looked at Lu Yuan, who was still calm, and felt that things weren't as simple as they seemed. The one in danger is not Zhu Qing, but Dai Mubai, Lu Yuan said indifferently. This White Tiger's fierce light wave can indeed cover almost the entire stage. However, it's not much of a threat to Zhu Qing, who has astonishing speed. Even though this White Tiger's fierce light wave is like a cannon and seems very powerful, it consumes a lot of soul power. Dai Mubai has already used his first and third soul skills. Now that he's unleashing such a large-scale White Tiger's fierce light wave, how long can his soul power last? The moment his soul force runs out, he will be defeated. Furthermore, Zhu Qing's strength isn't as simple as it seems. There wasn't a trace of worry in Lu Yuan's eyes. Zhu Zhuqing had only used her first soul skill, the Netherworld Rush. Her second soul skill, the Netherworld Soul-Breaking Claw, came from the Netherworld Purple Civet, an extremely powerful soul beast. It had an extremely powerful armor-piercing ability, and its claws also had a dark, corrosive ability. Dai Mubai's White Tiger's Vajra transformation and White Tiger's shield couldn't block at all. Armor-piercing ability was one of the nemesis of defense-type soul skills. It was still fine when there was a huge gap in soul power. However, Zhu Zhuqing's soul power wasn't inferior to Dai Mubai's at all. Furthermore, her 9 lives lynx was much stronger than Dai Mubai's White Tiger. After all, one was a transcendent martial soul, while the other was a top-ranked martial soul. The gap between them wasn't ordinary. There was also Zhu Zhuqing's third soul skill, the Nether Shadow Doppelganger. Even Lu Yuan hadn't seen this soul skill before. Zhu Zhuqing's fighting style was completely different from Lu Yuan's. She used her speed to hang on to her opponent and torture them until they were exhausted before defeating them in one fell swoop. It was like a cat catching a mouse. The cat would torture the mouse until it was exhausted before it killed the mouse in one fell swoop. Lu Yuan, on the other hand, was different. Lu Yuan's fighting style was bold and straightforward. He fought head-on and did not give his opponent the slightest chance to breathe. He would completely defeat his opponent in a clean and straightforward manner. Therefore, Lu Yuan's fights usually lasted for a short period of time. Look, Zhu Qing is about to start her real attack. The situation on the stage changed as Lu Yuan finished speaking. Zhu Qing's eyes, which had turned a deep blue due to the possession of her martial soul, emitted a brilliant light. Immediately, her third thousand-year soul ring shone with a brilliant purple light. In an instant, Zhu Qing's body split into 6 and surrounded Dai Mubai. Third soul skill, Nether Shadow, Doppelganger. This soul skill could split into 5 doppelgangers. At the same time, each doppelganger had 60% of the original body strength. Furthermore, the original body could switch between the doppelgangers. As long as the original body wasn't destroyed, even if the doppelgangers were destroyed, they could still recover. It could be said that it was a relatively powerful soul skill, especially when it was paired with the second soul skill, the Nether Soul-Breaking Claw, which had the armor-piercing attribute. Its power was simply amazing. It really displayed the word agility type to its fullest. Agility type, agility type. The first was agility, and the second was offense. Zhu Qing's 9 lives links had undoubtedly reached an extremely high level in both aspects. After all, every superb martial soul had its unique point. The 9 lives links' point was that it had the fastest reaction speed. While it was close to the limit, it also had an offensive ability that was superior to top-tier martial souls. It could be said that the 9 lives links was stronger than the White Tiger in terms of offensive ability, not to mention its extremely fast speed. Second soul skill, Nether Soul-Breaking Claw. The 6 doppelgangers attacked Dai Mubai with their sharp claws, leaving wounds on his body. The White Tiger's Vajra transformation and White Tiger's shield could block the Nether Spike, but couldn't block the Nether Soul-Breaking Claw. This soul skill was specialized in breaking armor. Every claw was dripping with blood. Dai Mubai roared towards the sky in pain. Dai Mubai's fair and handsome face was covered in blood, making him look like a ferocious ghost. At this moment, Zhu Qing didn't seem to have any intention of holding back. She was so ruthless that even Lu Yuan was a little shocked. Was this still the docile, proud, and kind-hearted kitten that he knew? What Lu Yuan did not know was that Zhu Qing was actually venting the anger in her heart. How could you expect a woman who was angry to be able to hold back? This was almost impossible. Anyway, Zhu Qing's heart was very happy now. Lu Yuan sighed in his heart as he looked at Dai Mubai's miserable appearance. He was beaten so badly that he might not be able to teach Dai Mubai a lesson later. What should he do? Lu Yuan revealed a smile at the corner of his mouth as he thought about it. He was actually very satisfied with Zhu Qing's performance. Chapter 267. Zhu Qing slapped Dai Mubai's face with her claws again. Dai Mubai was slammed into the arena, and he didn't move anymore. In this battle with Zhu Qing, Dai Mubai suffered a crushing defeat. It could be said that Zhu Qing was the strongest person in Shrek apart from Lu Yuan in terms of pure strength. Even Tang Sen wouldn't be Zhu Qing's match if he didn't use those despicable hidden weapons. After all, the blue-silver grass was a trash martial soul, and even the blue-silver emperor was nothing in front of the 9 lives links. However, Tang San's hidden weapons were a little vicious. If they really fought, Zhu Qing would be at a disadvantage as she wasn't prepared. Therefore, after today, Lu Yuan was prepared to teach some of the things he knew to Zhu Qing. The most useful was naturally the Phoenix Dance's 6 illusions. It was definitely more helpful to Zhu Qing than Hulina. In a sense, Zhu Qing's Nether Shadow avatar was similar to the Phoenix Dance's 6 illusions. With the help of the Phoenix Dance's 6 illusions, perhaps Zhu Qing's speed could be increased by another level. There was also the secret word, which could give Zhu Qing more ability to protect herself. When he first taught Guyuna, he might have been worried because she was too strong, and she was also a soul beast. To be honest, Lu Yuan was still a little afraid of her. However, Lu Yuan did not have the slightest misgivings about passing it to Zhu Zhuqing, Qianren Xue, and the others. After all, they were the closest people to him. If he wasn't still young, he would have eaten Chihiro Snow and Hulina. As for Zhu Zhuqing, yes, he would wait for another 2 years. After all, it wasn't good for her body to do it too early. Looking at Zhu Zhuqing in the arena, the corners of Lu Yuan's mouth curled up slightly, revealing a smile. It seemed that Zhu Zhuqing was now able to hold her own. Her combat awareness was quite mature. It seemed that after 2 years of experience, there was indeed a difference. He still remembered the time when Zhu Zhuqing could only lie in his arms and work hard to break through to rank 20 in the life ruins. But now, Zhu Zhuqing had the true demeanor of a soul warrior. Lu Yuan was really happy for her. Zhuqing, Lu Yuan muttered softly as he looked at Zhu Zhuqing. Wow, sister-in-law Zhuqing is so amazing. She actually won, and you won so beautifully. Ma Hongjuan's mouth was wide open as he stared at Dai Mubai, who had been beaten like a dead dog. His wife, Zhu Qing, really was amazing. She was only 12 years old, but she had already become a soul exalt and had beaten Dai Mubai to such a state. She was indeed Boss Yuan's woman. She was indeed powerful. Although he wasn't as strong as Boss Yuan, who was a rank 39 soul exalt at the age of 11, he was still a true freak. No, he was a freak among freaks. As for Lu Yuan, he wasn't a freak, he was a freak. So amazing. Ning Rongrong's mouth was slightly agape. She had finally witnessed Zhu Zhuqing's true strength today, especially when Zhu Zhuqing used her third and second soul skills together. She was simply too terrifying. She had practically killed Dai Mubai in an instant. Her talent was far beyond hers. However, Ning Rongrong still didn't want to give up as she looked at Lu Yuan. Although you are strong, my 7 treasures Glazed Pagoda's auxiliary abilities are the best in the world. Furthermore, I have the entire 7 treasures Glazed sect as my backing. I can definitely help Lu Yuan more than you, Zhu Zhuqing. We are a match made in heaven. Ning Rongrong's mind spun as she looked at Lu Yuan, who was like an immortal. This figure had been engraved in her heart for 2 years. After 2 years, he had become more and more outstanding and more likable. Ning Rongrong told herself that she couldn't let this man go, because no one else in this world could compare to him. This is Zhu Zhuqing's true strength. Xiao Wu's face carried a trace of shock. Although she hated Dai Mubai, she had to admit that Dai Mubai's strength was very strong. Back then at the hotel, Tang San and Dai Mubai had fought. When Tang San did not use his hidden weapons, he was not Dai Mubai's opponent at all. However, Dai Mubai was defeated so miserably by Zhu Zhuqing. Didn't this mean that Tang San wasn't Zhu Zhuqing's match at all? If Tang San wasn't her match, wouldn't she be the same? Although Xiao Wu was carefree and liked to cause trouble, she wasn't a fool. She could tell the difference between the strong and the weak. Otherwise, why did Xiao Wu only stare at Lu Yuan and not dare to cause trouble when Lu Yuan severely injured Lu Yuan? Wasn't it because Lu Yuan was very strong? Xiao Wu and the others couldn't beat him at all. One had to know that Xiao Wu wasn't like this when she was in the Nodding Academy. She would beat up anyone she didn't like. Wasn't it because no one in the Nodding Academy was her match? Xiao Wu had a temper, but depended on who she was dealing with. Lu Yuan wasn't Tang San and wouldn't spoil her. If she dared to cause trouble, Lu Yuan would definitely beat her up violently. Then, she would eat a spicy rabbit head to liven things up. The match is over. Contestant Civet wins. The host's voice rang out in the arena. Hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing withdrew her martial soul and walked down from the arena expressionlessly. It was as if defeating Dai Mubai was nothing to her. Dai Mubai struggled to stand up. His face was ashen. He was defeated so easily by Zhu Zhuqing. With his arrogance, he couldn't accept this at all. His eyes were filled with dejection. He was defeated so easily by Zhu Zhuqing, who was 3 years younger than him. He couldn't even beat Zhu Zhuqing. So how could he beat Lu Yuan, who was much stronger than Zhu Zhuqing? Dai Mubai only felt that his road ahead was really gloomy. With wounds and bloodstains all over his body, Dai Mubai walked out in a daze. The so-called evil-eyed white tiger was more or less crippled. Zhu Zhuqing walked all the way back to the lounge. When she saw Lu Yuan waiting for her, her cold eyes revealed a trace of gentleness. "Well done, Zhuqing." Lu Yuan took 2 steps forward and gently rubbed Zhu Zhuqing's head. It had to be said that Zhu Zhuqing's strength had surpassed the limits of a soul elder and reached the level of a soul ancestor. Even against soul ancestors below rank 45, Zhu Zhuqing could at least maintain stalemate. This was the strength of a superb martial soul. "And I didn't disappoint you, did I?" Zhu Zhuqing's voice was calm, but it carried a trace of unconcealable expectation. She hoped to gain Lu Yuan's approval. "Of course not. You've always been my pride." As he spoke, his eyes faintly glanced at a certain part of Zhu Zhuqing's body. Zhu Zhuqing's charming face immediately turned red. One of her hands tightly grasped the corner of her clothes, while the other quietly climbed up to Lu Yuan's waist. Lu Yuan chuckled. Before Zhu Zhuqing could make a move, his large hand wrapped around Zhu Zhuqing's lily-white hand that was on his waist and pulled her to sit on the sofa at the side. Chapter 268. Zhu Zhuqing was pulled to sit down by Lu Yuan, but her eyes were still glaring at Lu Yuan fiercely. However, there were other people here, so Zhu Zhuqing couldn't flare up. She could only lower her head with a red face. "Sister-in-law Zhuqing, you're amazing. No wonder Boss Yuan likes you." Ma Hongjun smiled and gave her a thumbs up. He was now completely convinced by Zhu Zhuqing. She had beaten Dai Mubai up today, which made Ma Hongjun's heart bloom with joy. "Dai Mubai, you're usually so arrogant. You even dare to seduce the girl I like. How is it? Now you've suffered, right? I should teach you a lesson like this." Hearing Ma Hongjun's words, Zhu Zhuqing's face was still red, but she nodded gently. Her personality was cold, and Ma Hongjun didn't look like a decent person. Therefore, Zhu Zhuqing didn't like to talk to him. However, seeing that they were classmates, Zhu Zhuqing still nodded gently as a response. As for why her face was still red, it was because Ma Hongjun called her sister-in-law. He called Lu Yuan Boss Yuan and called her sister-in-law. Wasn't it obvious that she and Lu Yuan were a couple? Although that was indeed the case, Zhu Zhuqing was still a little shy in her heart. This was because she was born a little thin-skinned. Lu Yuan looked at Ma Hongjun approvingly. This fatty knew how to talk. He was quite interesting. Looking at Zhu Zhuqing's blushing face, Lu Yuan felt that it was quite interesting. This tsundere kitten's shy look really had a different kind of charm. Lu Yuan was happy, but Ning Rongrong glared at Ma Hongjun fiercely. This damn fatty, he didn't know how to talk at all. However, when Lu Yuan's gaze swept over, Ning Rongrong's fierce gaze instantly disappeared, and she became gentle and elegant again. The speed at which she changed her expression was really shocking. Could it be that she had specially trained? Oscar, who was standing at the side, took in all the changes in Ning Rongrong's expression. A hint of sadness flashed across his eyes. At this moment, he had really given up and no longer had any other thoughts in his heart. That's right. Lu Yuan is so outstanding and surpasses me in almost every aspect. Even my handsome face, which I'm so proud of, pales in comparison to Lu Yuan, let alone my temperament. Although Oscar was handsome, he definitely didn't have any temperament. On the contrary, he was a little wretched. Compared to Lu Yuan's immortal-like temperament, he paled in comparison. He did like Ning Rongrong very much, because this girl gave him a very special feeling. Unfortunately, his opponent was abnormally strong, and Lu Yuan did not even show any interest in Ning Rongrong. But so what? Ning Rongrong was still determined to pursue Lu Yuan. How could Oscar not notice it? Forget it, forget it. This Ning Rongrong doesn't seem like someone I can pursue. After all, she's the proud daughter of the Seven Treasures Glazed sect, and I'm just an ordinary food-type soul grandmaster. Although I have some talent, how can I compare to the genius Lu Yuan? Oscar only had admiration for Lu Yuan. He was really a monstrous existence, and he could only look up to him. When someone was only slightly stronger than you might be jealous. But if this person was far stronger than you, then you would only have respect in your heart. That was how Oscar was now. Boss Yuan, sister-in-law Zhu Qing, made a mistake just now. Why don't you go up and play too? Hee, let us broaden our horizons. Ma Hongjun giggled. He now felt that following Lu Yuan was really great. Not only could he often freeload food and teach Dai Mubai a lesson for him, but he was also so strong and never bullied him. Instead, he was very good to him and Oscar. Therefore, Ma Hongjun was very close to his boss, Lu Yuan. What should he say about someone like Ma Hongjun? Although he was lecherous and a little perverted, he was very loyal. Whoever was good to him, he would be good to them. In the original story, Tang San's coxcomb phoenix Sunflower allowed Ma Hongjun to break free from the evil fire's control and purify his fire phoenix martial soul. From then on, Ma Hongjun followed Tang San's lead. If Tang San could do it, Lu Yuan could do it too. Although he'd been targeting Tang San and Dai Mubai, he wasn't a bloodthirsty person. Otherwise, wouldn't everything be fine if he just destroyed Shrek and killed Tang San and Dai Mubai? Lu Yuan would naturally rope in people who could be roped in. For example, Oscar and Ma Hongjun. For example, Tang San and Dai Mubai were destined to be enemies because of their opposing sides. There was no turning back. For example, Oscar and Ma Hongjun, they were both commoner soul masters. Speaking of which, they even enjoyed the preferential treatment of the martial soul palace. For such soul masters, they were completely suitable to be roped in. Therefore, Lu Yuan treated them very well over the past year. Their relationship with Lu Yuan was much better than with Dai Mubai. To be honest, it was very difficult for a good-for-nothing like Dai Mubai to find true friends. Although Lu Yuan could be arrogant at times, he was never arrogant for no reason. His arrogance always had a purpose. Usually, as long as you didn't provoke him, Lu Yuan's expression was calm, but it was still relatively easy to get along with him. He wouldn't belittle anyone. To be precise, Lu Yuan wasn't arrogant, but proud. And, after hearing Ma Hongjun's words, Lu Yuan nodded and asked Zhu Qing, do you want to see my true strength? True strength? Zhu Qing blinked her beautiful eyes and asked, Lu Yuan, how strong are you now? Lu Yuan's strength had always been a mystery. Even more than 2 years ago, Zhu Qing didn't completely figure out Lu Yuan's strength. She only knew that Lu Yuan alone eliminated all the young soul masters who entered the ruins. This strength was definitely not ordinary, at least the fighting strength of a soul king. And now Lu Yuan was already rank 46, higher than rank 17. So how much had his strength soared? To be honest, Zhu Qing's heart was full of curiosity. How strong? I'm sure you'll be surprised. Lu Yuan tapped Zhu Qing's nose and said with a smile. At this moment, the door of the lounge was suddenly pushed open, and a middle-aged man in a black uniform walked in. Hello, Mr. Huanglong. I am the deacon of the Great Soul Arena, Zhou Yuan. Sorry to disturb you. The middle-aged man in black said. Deacon of the Great Soul Arena, what can I do for you? Lu Yuan asked. Lu Yuan wasn't surprised that Zhou Yuan knew him. After all, although he sometimes wore a mask on the stage, it could only deceive the audience and ordinary waiters. For the Great Soul Arena, it was extremely difficult to hide his identity. Lu Yuan didn't deliberately hide his whereabouts, so it wasn't surprising that he was recognized. It's like this. There is a distinguished guest who wants to challenge you. This is his challenge letter, asking you to have a duel in the Central Great Soul Arena. The time is tomorrow night. Zhou Yuan said. How strong is he? Lu Yuan didn't refuse. Instead, he was curious about this person's strength. If he was strong, it wasn't impossible to fight. Chapter 269. This VIP is a Soul King. Zhou Yuan said. Soul King? I'm not interested. Lu Yuan shook his head. He originally thought that it would be an expert above the Soul Emperor level, and he was a little expectant. After all, he was still very famous in the Great Soul Arena in Soto City. Anyone who dared to challenge him must have some skill, but he didn't expect it to be just a Soul King. What was a Soul King? For the current Lu Yuan, defeating a Soul King was no different from playing. After the fight, he just warmed up. A Soul King dared to challenge him? Did he really think that his previous record was a joke? It seemed that it was another arrogant person. Lu Yuan lost interest and decisively rejected Zhou Yuan's invitation. Soul King? Deacon Zhou, you have seen my boss Yuan's battle. He has even defeated a bunch of Soul Emperors. Aren't you looking down on our boss Yuan too much by arranging a Soul King for him? Hearing Zhou Yuan's words, Ma Hongjun immediately said. Among them, the one who knew Lu Yuan's strength the best was not Zhu Zhuqing, but Ma Hongjun, because he had seen Lu Yuan defeat 2 Soul Emperors by himself. Otherwise, Ma Hongjun wouldn't have called him Boss Yuan so naturally. He was also a monster from Shrek Academy. How could he be subdued if he didn't have some ability? It was precisely because Ma Hongjun knew about Lu Yuan's feat of defeating 2 Soul Emperors by himself that he admired Lu Yuan so much. After all, in the Douluo continent, strength was respected. Especially among Soul Masters, strength was the most powerful support. Otherwise, what was the use of just relying on words? Defeated a Soul Emperor? When these words came out, Ning Rongrong and Xiao Wu were shocked at the same time. Even in the entire continent, Soul Emperors were considered to be in the upper middle class of Soul Masters. Each of them was strong and had a lot of fame, but Lu Yuan had defeated more than one. The splendor in Ning Rongrong's eyes became even more intense. She had made up her mind that she must pursue this man, not only for herself, but also for the 7 Treasures Glazed sect. If she had Lu Yuan's support, the 7 Treasures Glazed sect would definitely be able to shine brightly on the continent in the future. Xiao Wu's mouth was wide open. Her scorpion braids were scattered across her shoulders. No wonder she and her 3rd brother had been defeated so miserably. In the end, they hadn't even been able to force out Lu Yuan's martial soul. This Lu Yuan was actually a powerhouse that could defeat a Soul Emperor. Their defeat wasn't unjust. Oscar wasn't too surprised, because he had witnessed the battle between Lu Yuan and Zhao Wuji when he first entered the academy. It was also very exciting, and Lu Yuan's final attack had even forced Zhao Wuji to use his 6th soul skill. It was reasonable for him to be able to defeat a Soul Emperor. Zhu Zhuqing blinked. Defeat the Soul Emperor. She always felt that this wasn't Lu Yuan's true strength. She was the closest to Lu Yuan, and the man beside her was mysterious beyond imagination. He always had his own trump cards. For example, Zhu Zhuqing knew about the clear air divine seed and polychoria. The life spirit crystal was a peerless treasure. It had allowed her and Hulina's martial souls to undergo a huge evolution. It had also increased their soul power. At the same time, it had also improved her physique and increased her cultivation speed. Moreover, it had also helped her recover quickly every time she was injured. These were all the effects of the life spirit crystal. Lu Yuan had directly put the life spirit crystal aside and chose the clear air divine seed. If the life spirit crystal was so powerful, then what about the clear air divine seed? It would only help Lu Yuan even more. There was also the polychoria, this mysterious and peerless second martial soul that couldn't be supplemented with soul rings was also abnormally mysterious. Zhu Zhuqing was sure that everyone in Shrek Academy would think that Lu Yuan's polychoria was just a little strange. They wouldn't guess that the polychoria itself had the power to destroy the heavens and earth. According to Zhu Zhuqing's understanding of Lu Yuan, if Lu Yuan's full strength were to erupt, he definitely wouldn't be an ordinary Soul Emperor. He would definitely be at an even higher level. It had to be said that Lu Yuan understood Zhu Zhuqing, and Zhu Zhuqing also understood Lu Yuan. She already loved Lu Yuan to death. So how could she not analyze Lu Yuan? Especially when she was separated from Lu Yuan, she missed Lu Yuan even more. After a long time, Zhu Zhuqing was naturally able to figure out some things. Mr. Huang Long, please don't be in a hurry to refuse. This honored guest is not an ordinary Soul King. Zhou Yuan said. Oh, Lu Yuan's expression was indifferent. Not an ordinary Soul King? He wasn't even interested in a second-rate Soul King. To him, a Soul King was a Soul King. No matter how special they were, they could be dealt with in a few punches and kicks. But that was impossible. She was still far from here. If it was someone at her level, Lu Yuan would still be interested. However, it would be difficult to find a second genius like her on the continent. This honored guest has a letter for you. He said that as long as you read this letter, you will definitely accept his challenge. As Zhou Yuan spoke, he took out a golden envelope and handed it to Lu Yuan. Is that so? Lu Yuan said indifferently as he received the letter. The golden envelope's design was very exquisite. It gave off a luxurious feeling, and it still had some style. Lu Yuan opened the envelope. There was no letter inside. Instead, there was only a pure white feather. This feather was white without the slightest impurity. It was very pure, and there was a faint golden light pervading it. Seeing this feather, Lu Yuan's indifferent expression was suddenly broken. His eyes flashed with unprecedented brilliance. Where is that person? I want to see her. That honored guest said that he is not seeing any guests now. If Mr. Huang Long wants to see him, come to the Central Great Soul Arena at 6 o'clock sharp tomorrow night. He will be waiting for you there, Zhou Yuan said. Hearing this, Lu Yuan took a light breath, and his expression became indifferent again. Okay, I got it. The letter has been delivered. Then I will take my leave first, Zhou Yuan said. Deacon Zhou, take care, Lu Yuan said indifferently. Zhou Yuan's figure left the lounge. Cher, is that you? Holding the white feather in his hand and feeling the faint sacred aura on it, his heart was full of longing. Immediately, a wry smile appeared on his face. It seems that Cher is angry again. It's all my fault. I haven't visited her for 2 years. When I left Heavendou Imperial City, I said that I would visit her when I had time. In the end, it's been 2 years and I haven't visited her. Cher must be very angry in her heart. She thinks that I don't care about her anymore, so she is throwing a tantrum with me. Lu Yuan secretly thought in his heart. Who knew that he would stay in the Great Star Dough Forest for as long as a year? After coming to Shrek, he was busy training his physique. In the past 2 years, he had devoted all his time to cultivation and neglected Cher. Of course, there was also his senior sister. Perhaps his senior sister was still waiting for him in Martial Spirit City. Chapter 270. Among all of his women, Hulina was the one who asked for the least. She poured all of her love into Lu Yuan without any reservation. Chihiro Snow was pursued by Lu Yuan. For her, Lu Yuan set up the Heavenly Dipper, swept away all threats for her, and stabilized her position as the crown prince. It could be said that Lu Yuan had taken the initiative to help Zhu Zhuqing. He had saved Zhu Zhuqing's life and had fed her every day. When Zhu Zhuqing was training in the continent, he had even mobilized the power of the entire continent's martial spirit branch hall to protect her. Even though she could only be considered half a soul now, Lu Yuan promised to take on the responsibility of a soul beast and find a way out for soul beasts. Then what about Hulina? What did Lu Yuan do for Hulina? Could a mere set of the Phoenix Dance 6 illusions and a piece of Dream Demon Fox's skull compare to Hulina's feelings for him? Impossible. Far from it. Hulina only asked for Lu Yuan's company. Thinking back to when they were separated for only 20 days in the ruins, Hulina was already obsessed with Lu Yuan, let alone now that 2 years had passed. Lu Yuan suddenly had a feeling that he didn't dare to face Hulina. Originally, he had too many considerations in his heart, such as increasing his strength and plotting against Tang San, so he didn't think about these things. But today, Chihiro Snow's letter evoked Lu Yuan's hidden memories. Indeed, he had stayed in Shrek for long enough. There wasn't much meaning in staying any longer. He wanted to go back and see his senior sister who loved him to the bone. This was the woman Lu Yuan owed the most. But the most important thing right now is still Cher. I'd better get through this first. Who knows? She might be thinking about how to teach me a lesson right now. Lu Yuan smiled wryly. Among his women, Chihiro Snow was undoubtedly the boldest and strongest. Hulina and Zhu Zhuqing couldn't control him. On the contrary, if he just put on a stern face, the two girls would be shocked. However, Chihiro Snow was different. When facing Chihiro Snow, Lu Yuan was still somewhat afraid. Chihiro Snow might be the only person in the world who could control Lu Yuan. After all, with Lu Yuan's lawless character, sooner or later, even Bibidon wouldn't be able to control him. Naturally, Guyena wouldn't be able to do anything because a gold dragon would never submit to a silver dragon. However, Chihiro Snow was special because she was the first person to walk into Lu Yuan's heart. Lu Yuan loved her the most. It was because of this love and this respect that Chihiro Snow's position in Lu Yuan's heart was unique. Chihiro Snow was the official wife. This was unshakable, whether it was Hulina or Guyena. It was also because of this reason that Lu Yuan always felt guilty when facing Chihiro Snow. After all, she was originally the only one in his heart. In the end, a few more people came in. Lu Yuan naturally felt that he had let Chihiro Snow down. This time, Chihiro Snow challenged him to a fair and square opportunity to teach him a lesson so that she could vent her anger. Who told Lu Yuan not to visit her for 2 years? After all, although Chihiro Snow was valiant and had a big belly, she was a woman after all. A woman would yearn for love. She yearned for the person she loved to spend more time with her. Chihiro Snow was naturally no exception. She wanted to vent her anger in this way, and at the same time, let Lu Yuan react and accompany her more in the future. Chihiro Snow was arrogant. It was naturally impossible for her to say such words directly. Unlike Hulina, who said that she missed Lu Yuan and directly said it in front of Lu Yuan, she would use her actions to tell Lu Yuan what she meant. As for whether Lu Yuan could understand, Chihiro Snow was never worried that Lu Yuan, with his monstrous IQ, wouldn't be able to see it, unless Lu Yuan was pretending to be stupid. Lu Yuan's thoughts turned. He held the letter for a long time without saying a word. Lu Yuan. Zhu Zhuqing gently pushed Lu Yuan. She had never seen Lu Yuan have such a big reaction. What does this letter mean? A feather. What can it mean? Zhu Zhuqing looked at Lu Yuan in confusion. After being pushed by Zhu Zhuqing, Lu Yuan suddenly came back to his senses. Nothing. It's just an old friend. This feather is her keepsake. Lu Yuan rubbed Zhu Zhuqing's head and smiled. Chihiro Snow's identity was top secret. Zhu Zhuqing could naturally be trusted, but others couldn't. Lu Yuan naturally couldn't talk about her here. He would find an opportunity to talk to Zhu Zhuqing when he returned. Old friend? Ma Hongjun asked with some confusion. Boss Yuan, could it be that your old friend can still fight with you? He was very clear about Lu Yuan's strength. It was terrifying. However, Boss Yuan's old friend dared to challenge him. Could it be that her strength was not much worse than Boss Yuan's? Yes, she is very strong. If there is anyone in the younger generation who is qualified to be my opponent, it must be her. Speaking of Chihiro Snow, Lu Yuan's mouth showed a gentle smile. Hiss! Ma Hongjun was shocked. There was someone in the younger generation who could fight with Boss Yuan. That was amazing. Ning Rongrong looked at the gentle smile on Lu Yuan's mouth, but there was a faint suspicion in her heart. She always felt that the relationship between this old friend and Lu Yuan was not simple. After all, Lu Yuan had always been calm. This time, his expression changed so much. Except for the first time when he met Zhu Zhuqing, this was the second time Ning Rongrong saw Lu Yuan's expression change so much. Could it be that this so-called old friend was a woman? Thinking of this, Ning Rongrong was shocked. She looked at Lu Yuan with eyes full of hidden bitterness. If it was really a woman, then the relationship between this woman and Lu Yuan might not be simple. Maybe it was a relationship like Zhu Zhuqing's. If Lu Yuan really has 2 girlfriends, then he shouldn't mind having one more. Then why is he still so cold to me? Also, does Zhu Zhuqing know about this matter? It had to be said that sometimes a woman's intuition was really accurate. It was just a slight change in Lu Yuan's expression, and Ning Rongrong had already guessed so much. She was really amazing. Let's go. Lu Yuan put the feather back into the envelope and put it in the astral ring. He took Zhu Zhuqing's hand and walked out. With Chihiro Snow's letter, he had long lost interest in the soul battle. It was better to go back first. Moreover, he still had to tell Zhu Zhuqing about Cher. Zhu Zhuqing had lowered her head and was silent now. She was waiting for Lu Yuan to take the initiative to reveal it to her. After all, if Ning Rongrong could think of something, Zhu Zhuqing could, especially when Zhu Zhuqing's understanding of Lu Yuan was much deeper than Ning Rongrong's. She even thought that it might be inconvenient for Lu Yuan to reveal Qian Rinchue's identity here. There must be something that he could not say. That was why he remained silent. She believed that Lu Yuan would tell her voluntarily. This was the trust she had for Lu Yuan all this time. Chapter 271. Holding Zhu Zhuqing's little hand, Lu Yuan led the way in front. Ning Rongrong followed closely behind, looking at Lu Yuan with a pair of beautiful big eyes. She felt that if Lu Yuan really had other women besides Zhu Zhuqing, then it might not be so difficult for her to pursue Lu Yuan. After all, if he could accept the second, he would definitely be able to accept the third. But what she didn't know was that Lu Yuan had already accepted almost 4 women. In his heart, he felt that it was really enough, so the possibility of Ning Rongrong was really not big. Because if he really provoked Ning Rongrong, Lu Yuan was really worried that his harem would be on fire. After all, he had promised them that it would only be the 3 of them. Gu Yuna wasn't human, so she could still quibble, but if it was Ning Rongrong, she wouldn't even have a chance to quibble. Although Ning Rongrong was beautiful, her temper and figure weren't the type that Lu Yuan liked. Moreover, Lu Yuan preferred mature women. Ning Rongrong was still a little immature. After all, she had been spoiled since she was a child. She wasn't like Zhu Zhuqing, who had been persecuted since she was a child. She knew the cruelty of reality, so she matured very quickly. Moreover, her personality was good, and she got along well with Lu Yuan. Of course, the most important thing was that she had a good figure. Cough, cough. As for the others, for example, Chihiro Snow, her appearance was definitely the best among the current human women. Her figure was perfect, and her temperament was holy and pure. At first glance, she could arouse the desire of men to conquer her. Another example was Hulina. Although her appearance was a little inferior to Chihiro Snow, she was still the most beautiful of all. In addition, she was naturally charming and seductive. Moreover, her personality was very good, and she was obedient to Lu Yuan. How could Lu Yuan not like such a senior sister? Finally, there was Gu Yuna. Out of all the women that Lu Yuan had seen in his life, perhaps even in the entire Douluo continent, Gu Yuna could be considered the #1 beauty. Her looks and aura were flawless, and her personality was also very good. She was very pure and even a little silly. She could be said to have boundless charm and was truly devastatingly beautiful. Even Chihiro Snow was somewhat inferior to Gu Yuna in terms of appearance, but in terms of temperament, Chihiro Snow was still slightly inferior to Gu Yuna. Unless Chihiro Snow became a god in the future, he might be able to compete with Gu Yuna as an equal. Compared to them, Ning Rongrong was still lacking. Because she had not fully grown up yet, she was more like a girl than a woman. Lu Yuan naturally had no interest in her. After they returned to Shrek Academy, Lu Yuan parted ways with Oscar and the others. He brought Zhu Zhuqing back to their small wooden hut. Zhuqing, let's go to your wooden house. I think you want to hear what I have to say. Looking at Zhu Zhuqing's cold little face, Lu Yuan could not help but reach out and caress it. His voice was very gentle. Okay, Zhu Zhuqing replied softly. After pushing open the door of the wooden hut, the 2 of them sat on Zhu Zhuqing's bed. Lu Yuan waved his sleeve, and the door of the wooden hut closed naturally. Lu Yuan gently hugged Zhu Zhuqing's waist, and couldn't help but rub his face against Zhu Zhuqing's head. The rustling sensation had a faint warmth to it. Today's letter was from Cher. That feather was from her. Lu Yuan said softly. Is that the Chihiro snow you mentioned before? Zhu Zhuqing asked softly. Yes. Lu Yuan nodded gently and said, Speaking of which, not only have I been separated from you for more than 2 years, but I also haven't seen Cher and seen your sister for 2 years. Is that so? Zhu Zhuqing said softly. You also know what I've been doing for the past 2 years. I've focused on improving my cultivation and neglected them. I think Cher is here to see me this time. Of course, before seeing me, she will definitely teach me a lesson, Lu Yuan said with a bitter smile. This was Chihiro Snow's temper. Coaxing Chihiro Snow was much harder than coaxing Zhu Zhuqing and Hulina. Chihiro Snow was not only arrogant, but also tsundere. Zhu Zhuqing was also tsundere, but Zhu Zhuqing was a little tsundere. Chihiro Snow was really tsundere to a certain extent. He obviously liked her, but he refused to admit it. He obviously missed her to death, but he refused to say it and insisted on challenging her. Thinking of this, Lu Yuan's expression was somewhat helpless. Serves you right, Zhu Zhuqing muttered softly. Huh? Lu Yuan raised his voice, his eyes roaming Zhu Zhuqing's body. Little kitty, what did you just say? Humph, you only know how to bully me. Zhu Zhuqing snorted and turned her head away. Oh, Lu Yuan was amused. He just said that Chihiro Snow was tsundere, and in the blink of an eye, this little kitty also gave him one. Lu Yuan put his right hand on Zhu Zhuqing's chin and turned her head back. He looked at Zhu Zhuqing with interest. Little kitty, who asked you to be so beautiful? When I see you, I want to bully you. What do you think I should do? Lu Yuan slowly approached Zhu Zhuqing. His breath hit Zhu Zhuqing's face. Zhu Zhuqing's originally cold face turned red again. They had been close several times, but Zhu Zhuqing still blushed. It had to be said that Zhu Zhuqing's shy temperament had not changed. Kissing Zhu Zhuqing's red lips, Lu Yuan's hand began to move up and down. Finally, he touched something sensitive. Zhu Zhuqing's delicate body went soft, and she collapsed in Lu Yuan's arms. Letcher, big baddie, Zhu Zhuqing scolded weakly. Lu Yuan's hand seemed to have some kind of magic. With just a gentle move, her body felt as if it had lost its bones. Her whole body was sore and weak. Women don't like good men, Lu Yuan said, and once again blocked Zhu Zhuqing's red lips. It was late at night, and a man and a woman were alone. In addition, Lu Yuan's bloodline was a little impulsive. At this moment, Lu Yuan hugged Zhu Zhuqing, and he was a little confused. However, Lu Yuan had strong self-control. Moreover, Zhu Zhuqing was not Chihiro Snow and the others. She was still young, and it was not the time for her to do that kind of thing. Lu Yuan loved her. Naturally, he would not do anything harmful to her body because of his desire. Slowly stopping his hand, Lu Yuan hugged Zhu Zhuqing's waist and still kissed Zhu Zhuqing's lips. Seeing Lu Yuan stop, Zhu Zhuqing's eyes showed a trace of emotion. She no longer cared about her shyness and passionately responded to Lu Yuan's request. Slowly letting go of Zhu Zhuqing's lips, Lu Yuan gently pressed against Zhu Zhuqing's forehead. The tip of his nose touched Zhu Zhuqing's jade nose. The distance between the two was very close. Don't leave tonight, Zhu Zhuqing said softly. Listening to Zhu Zhuqing's words, Lu Yuan opened his eyes wide. He looked at Zhu Zhuqing in disbelief. Was this still his shy little kitten? This was very similar to what his bold senior sister would say. Looking at Lu Yuan's surprised expression, although Zhu Zhuqing was a little embarrassed, she still said in a mosquito-like voice, "We haven't slept together for a long time. I want to experience the feeling of falling asleep in your arms again." Okay, Lu Yuan smiled, and then his tone became a little frivolous. Just right. Let me see how much you've grown. Hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing's face instantly turned red. Chapter 272. In the simple wooden hut, a faint ray of sunlight shone in. Lu Yuan opened his eyes, and a light flickered in his pupils. Feeling the softness in his embrace, Lu Yuan's lips curled up slightly. Looking at Zhu Zhuqing's sleeping face in his arms, her white, jade-like face no longer had its usual coldness. Only the calmness of a cat was left. Her whole body was curled up in his arms, and her arms were tightly wrapped around his waist. That proud fullness pressed down on his body, bringing an unparalleled pressure. It had to be said that Zhu Zhuqing's figure was really great. Gently tucking Zhu Zhuqing's scattered hair behind her ears, Lu Yuan carefully looked at the quiet, sleeping face of this little kitten. Those long eyelashes and delicate skin were really charming. Looking at her, Lu Yuan gently kissed Zhu Zhuqing's forehead. As if feeling Lu Yuan's kiss, Zhu Zhuqing slowly opened her eyes. Her pitch-black eyes looked at Lu Yuan in front of her, full of gentleness. "Sorry, did I wake you up?" Looking at Zhu Zhuqing's charming face, Lu Yuan smiled slightly. "No, I slept very comfortably. I haven't slept so peacefully in a long time." Zhu Zhuqing gently shook her head. Leaning in Lu Yuan's arms, there was an unprecedented peace of mind. Leaning on him, Zhu Zhuqing's whole body relaxed, and she quickly fell asleep. Hearing Zhu Zhuqing's words, Lu Yuan's lips curled up into a smile. His gentle eyes looked at Zhu Zhuqing with a trace of affection. Zhu Zhuqing enjoyed Lu Yuan's gaze very much. She summoned the courage to kiss Lu Yuan's lips. Looking at Lu Yuan's somewhat surprised expression, Zhu Zhuqing's charming face revealed a rare trace of a smile, and said, "If you want to kiss me, you don't have to do it secretly. Is that so?" It was rare to see a little kitten so bold. Lu Yuan gently lowered his head, sealed Zhu Zhuqing's red lips, and asked again. Looking at Zhu Zhuqing's blushing face, Lu Yuan smiled with satisfaction. Zhu Zhuqing gave Lu Yuan a reproachful look, but buried her head deeper into Lu Yuan's chest. Lu Yuan gently stroked Zhu Zhuqing's long hair and looked at the dazzling sunlight outside. He smiled and said, "Kitty, wake up. The sun is shining on your butt." The two of them slept very well and ended up sleeping until this time. It was already time for class, even though there weren't many classes in Shrek Academy. They had nothing to teach Lu Yuan. After thinking for a moment, Lu Yuan asked Zhu Zhuqing, "Zhuqing, what do you think of Shrek Academy?" "How is it?" Zhu Zhuqing muttered to herself and said, "The talent of the students is not bad, but the facilities of this academy are too simple and crude. Furthermore, I haven't seen the teaching ability of the teachers. However, looking at the appearance of the dean, he doesn't seem to be from a professional academy. Among all the academies I've seen, it doesn't seem to be the best. It's just that the conditions for enrollment are rather strict. This kind of school doesn't have any teaching conditions or facilities, yet they only recruit geniuses. It's a little incomprehensible." Hearing this, Lu Yuan gently nodded. The current Zhu Zhuqing wasn't the original Zhu Zhuqing. She had been on the continent for more than 2 years, and her horizons were broader and she was more mature. The truth was just as Zhu Zhuqing had said. Apart from the fact that Shrek Academy's enrollment conditions were notoriously strict, there were almost no other redeeming qualities. The teaching ability of the teachers wasn't very professional either. At the very least, they didn't form a professional system. Even the teachers were unorthodox. To put it bluntly, in the aspect of martial souls, they didn't know as much as Lu Yuan. After a period of time, I'll be leaving Shrek Academy. Zhuqing, will you leave with me? Lu Yuan asked. I'm here to look for you. Naturally, I'll go wherever you go. Although Zhu Zhuqing's tone was soft, it was very firm. In her heart, since she was already following Lu Yuan, she would follow whatever Lu Yuan did. Even if she had to die 9 times, she wouldn't regret it. Good, Zhuqing. Lu Yuan smiled gently and caressed Zhu Zhuqing's smooth face with his right hand. He smiled and said, Let's get up then. After eating, I'll teach you a movement technique. It should be helpful for your speed. Is it the Phoenix Dance's 6 illusions? Zhu Zhuqing asked softly. Yes, yes. Lu Yuan nodded and said, It is the Phoenix Dance's 6 illusions. You've seen this movement technique before. It's very exquisite. Don't be fooled by your martial soul, the 9 lives lynx. In terms of speed, I might be faster than you. Humph. It seemed like she couldn't compare to Lu Yuan in what she was best at. Zhu Zhuqing wrinkled her nose slightly and snorted. It was indeed a great honor to have a powerful man, but Lu Yuan was too much of a monster. Zhu Zhuqing used to feel inferior when she was with him. Although it was better now, Zhu Zhuqing still felt that it was difficult for her to keep up with Lu Yuan's pace. Why was this guy so demonic? Lu Yuan didn't mind when he heard Zhu Zhuqing snort. It was normal for this little kitten to be a little tsundere. Lu Yuan pinched Zhu Zhuqing's nose gently and climbed off the bed. His perfect figure exuded a strong, masculine aura. He was very charming, and Zhu Zhuqing blushed. Lu Yuan chuckled and said, "You touched and saw me last night. Why are you still shy now? Look at me. I'm not shy at all when I see your body. You're still talking." Zhu Zhuqing snorted proudly. Her face was red. "Lecher, do you think everyone is as thick-skinned as you?" Okay, I'll stop talking." Lu Yuan smiled slightly. He knew that the joke was almost over, so he stopped. After all, Zhu Zhuqing's skin was very thin. If he continued, she would be angry. Lu Yuan took the clothes that were put aside and put them on. Although Zhu Zhuqing's face was red, her eyes were still looking at Lu Yuan without blinking. Lu Yuan took in her expression without missing anything. After putting on the white clothes outside, Lu Yuan regained his immortal-like temperament in the blink of an eye. However, after putting on the clothes, Lu Yuan didn't go out. Instead, he looked at Zhu Zhuqing with a mischievous face. Zhu Zhuqing wrapped the quilt around her delicate body and said, "Why aren't you going out? I'm going to put on my clothes." "Yes, I want to see you put on your clothes. It must be very interesting." Lu Yuan revealed a mischievous smile. When he measured Zhu Zhuqing's size last night, he removed all the restraints. So now Zhu Zhuqing was really a little white sheep. "You." Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Zhu Zhuqing was angry and amused. This man was sometimes strong and overbearing, but sometimes he was like a rascal. It really made people unable to do anything to him. Chapter 273. Lu Yuan eventually walked out of the wooden hut and left Zhu Zhuqing alone to put on her clothes. He knew that Zhu Zhuqing was very thin-skinned, and he couldn't go overboard with his teasing. He could just joke around, but since Zhu Zhuqing wasn't willing, he wouldn't do such a thing. However, compared to Zhu Zhuqing, Hulina was the other extreme. If it had been Hulina earlier, she wouldn't have minded Lu Yuan watching her change her clothes. Instead, she would have purposely acted seductively to seduce Lu Yuan. This little vixen had really thought of ways to devour Lu Yuan. If not for Lu Yuan's strong self-control, he might not have been able to resist Hulina's charms. Creak! The wooden door was pushed open, and Zhu Zhuqing walked out. "You're done." Lu Yuan's eyes brightened when he saw Zhu Zhuqing, who was dressed properly. Zhu Zhuqing seemed to be exceptionally beautiful today. Zhu Zhuqing had a head of beautiful long black hair that fell straight to her waist. These 3 words were really the most suitable description for Zhu Zhuqing. Coupled with Zhu Zhuqing's soft and boneless waist, her cold and calm little face, and her incomparably imposing chest, the sexiness under her cold and elegant appearance really made one's blood boil uncontrollably. Lu Yuan's eyes sparkled. Zhu Zhuqing was indeed one of the top beauties, and her seductiveness wasn't inferior to Hulina's. However, Lu Yuan was Lu Yuan after all. He had great self-control. Furthermore, he had seen many of the top beauties in the Douluo continent. Gu Yina was the top beauty in the Douluo series. Chihiro Snow was the top beauty in the Douluo continent right now. Perhaps she could be called the top beauty in the entire Douluo continent after she became a god. Lu Yuan had seen these 2 goddesses many times and had even interacted with them intimately. His standards were already very high. Holding Zhu Zhuqing's hand, Lu Yuan brought her to Soto City for breakfast. As the food in Shrek's canteen was really terrible, they didn't stay in Soto City after breakfast. Instead, they went straight back to Shrek Academy. Lu Yuan rarely attended classes. He was very special in Shrek Academy. In any case, Flinder and Zhao Wuji had never interfered with Lu Yuan. How he cultivated was his own business. Therefore, Lu Yuan was relatively free. There was a large empty space in front of their wooden hut. Lu Yuan looked at Zhu Zhuqing in front of him with a serious expression. This was Lu Yuan's character. He was usually calm and gentle. However, when it came to serious matters, he would have such a serious expression. In order to force Hulina to practice the Phoenix Dance's 6 illusions, Lu Yuan personally supervised her for a month. As long as she was lazy, it would be a snap of his fingers. Furthermore, in order to train Hulina's body, he even came up with the idea of making Hulina carry a rock to practice the Phoenix Dance's 6 illusions. One could imagine how meticulous he was when it came to training. During that period of time, Hulina was basically being lectured by Lu Yuan during the day. Then, at night, Hulina would crazily complain about Lu Yuan's evil deeds. After complaining, she would lie in Lu Yuan's arms and refuse to get up. Over these 2 years, Lu Yuan couldn't help but smile when he thought about this occasionally. The key to the Phoenix Dance's 6 illusions lies in the word illusion. Lu Yuan said indifferently. The most powerful part of the Phoenix Dance's 6 illusions is that it can split into 6 figures at extremely fast speed. Each of the 6 figures can attack, and each of them is no different from the original body. The Phoenix Dance's 6 illusions has the most perfect defense. At the same time, hidden in the extreme beauty is the most fatal killing intent. Looking at Zhu Zhuqing in front of him, Lu Yuan spoke frankly with assurance. Among his women, Zhu Zhuqing was the most suitable to practice the Phoenix Dance's 6 illusions. Zhu Zhuqing's nether shadow doppelganger was already very powerful. If she could integrate the profound meaning of the Phoenix Dance's 6 illusions, then Lu Yuan wouldn't have the slightest worry for Zhu Zhuqing. She would become a true prodigy among agility-type soul masters. It was said that control-type soul masters restrained agility-type soul masters. In fact, Lu Yuan still wanted to say that there was no such thing as absolute restraint. As long as one's strength was strong enough and could display one's advantages to the extreme, then even if one was restrained, one would still be able to win. Zhu Zhuqing was undoubtedly a very serious student. As Lu Yuan spoke, she seriously memorized at the side. Her learning attitude was much better than Hulina's. Hulina was the most enthusiastic about increasing her spiritual power, and what she hated the most was physique-type training. Every time Lu Yuan trained her, she would act coquettishly and complain. Although it was useless to Lu Yuan, she still didn't get tired of it. However, Zhu Zhuqing wasn't like that. As long as it was helpful to increasing her strength, as long as it wasn't crooked, then she would accept it. This was what Lu Yuan admired the most about Zhu Zhuqing. Have you memorized it all? Lu Yuan asked softly after explaining the cultivation method of the Phoenix Dance's 6 illusions to Zhu Zhuqing. Yes, I've pretty much memorized it. From the description of this cultivation method, not only is this movement technique abnormally mysterious, but it is also very elegant. Where did you get such a good movement technique? Zhu Zhuqing was somewhat curious. Just as Lu Yuan was about to speak, he was interrupted by Zhu Zhuqing. Don't tell me you created it yourself. This movement technique exudes elegance from the bones, but your attack style can only be described with one word, and that is reckless. This movement technique doesn't fit your personality at all. Hearing this, Lu Yuan smiled bitterly. He didn't expect Zhu Zhuqing to understand him so well. One had to know that this was something that even Hulina, who had been with him day and night, hadn't guessed, but Zhu Zhuqing had. His battles had always been open and wide. The elegant and ethereal movement technique of the Phoenix Dance's 6 illusions was indeed incompatible with the Golden Dragon Fist's fighting style. On the contrary, it was exceptionally compatible with Zhu Zhuqing. It was precisely because of this that Lu Yuan had already begun to create his own movement technique and had already made some progress. It wouldn't be long before he would be able to create his own movement technique. Moreover, Lu Yuan was confident that once this movement technique was born, it might even be above the Phoenix Dance's 6 illusions. Don't worry about whether I created it myself or not. You just need to learn it well. Why are you asking so many questions? Lu Yuan flicked Zhu Zhuqing's forehead, making Zhu Zhuqing couldn't help but pout her small mouth. Humph! Zhu Zhuqing glared at Lu Yuan. She walked to the side alone and began to practice the Phoenix Dance's 6 illusions. It had to be said that Zhu Zhuqing's beautiful figure and the Phoenix Dance's 6 illusions were a perfect match. Moreover, the Phoenix Dance's 6 illusions seemed to be really compatible with Zhu Zhuqing. Zhu Zhuqing was very quick to learn, at least much faster than Hulina's speed. Lu Yuan quietly watched Zhu Zhuqing practice. Occasionally, he would point out a few inadequacies. In just one afternoon, Zhu Zhuqing's improvement was really huge. Looking at the somewhat dark sky, Lu Yuan sighed and walked towards the direction of Soto City. He was going to keep his appointment. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.